What is up, everybody? This is Silver Spook, and this is the Silver Spook live stream. And today we will be talking about we will be talking again about She-Hulk and the twerk that destroys Manchildren's little feelings, featuring Meagan the Stallion, and how it is time to grow up and get to work, all y'all's dudes. So, anyways, I've already done one She-Hulk video, but why not do another one? Because this is like it's just many things have been in my mind in the last day, 2 days, and lots of articles that are going to connect to this. It's not just about She-Hulk, but we are going to be discussing what the hell has been going on. Why not just jump straight into it? Okay, so this is something else, but She-Hulk 3, Episode 3's misogynistic comments are based on real Instagram comments about the show. So in case you didn't know, She-Hulk is a show that is out now on Hulu. You can watch it up to Episode 3, if I'm not mistaken. The third episode of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, took inspiration from the comment section of Marvel's own Instagram page for its in-universe reaction to Jen Walters' alter ego. The latest episode features a montage of fictional social media comments speaking against She-Hulk as a female superhero, since it has been discovered that some of the comments used in the show are based on genuine backlash. So, and these are some of the comments. It seems like Marvel took some inspiration. In 2019, when Marvel announced She-Hulk, the comments were spammed with outraged men, with things such as, so we have a Me Too movement now, and all the male heroes are gone. How somehow I think Marvel just made a wrong turn. Bro, what is this? You're giving things that we don't want. Why everything in Marvel gotta be female now? Why everything gotta be about women? Who cares about women's rights? Hulk doesn't need to he a girl. Anyways, WTF? We've been waiting for a Hulk standalone, and the best you can do is She-Hulk. These are actually, I think a bunch of these were actually in the show. Actually, I recognize at least one or two of them. Disappointed but interested, fucking Marvel, man. Chill with the females, Marvel. Jesus. Why are you turning every superhero into a girl? We never asked for that. She-Hulk was already a girl. Miss Marvel is another show that just came out, but Miss Marvel is now a non-white girl. It's Indian girl, but that was also always a girl. Anyways, there is a lady Thor, but there's also still a dude Thor, and there is a lady Thor inside. There's a female Thor in the comic books too. Anyways, but asking so-called super fans of comic books and Western pop culture to actually know their own pop culture is asking too much, right? But that's another layer of this that we're gonna get to. Spoiled little man babies. Don't even go through the basic work of knowing their own canon of their own narratives and universes that they claim to be fans of, right? It's amazing. It's kind of like, actually most books are written by women that do all the editing and lots of the groundwork and research, and putting a bunch of BS, big genius brain white man ideas into some kind of readable format. You know how I know that? Because I did the work of ghostwriting. I'm a dude passing person, so I should say that first. But I feel like I might have come out as more non-binary if the U.S. hadn't genocided Native Hawaiian, gender fluid and LGBTQ plus accepting culture. But as a dude passing person, right? This having to have been the person who has to maintain the actual lore and canon and make readable, writable, to produce readable storylines, right? So I did mostly science fiction ghostwriting, and that's just one of the many things I've done for richer, more powerful white dudes, right, who are completely mediocre at it. So when I talk about like Elon is mediocre, I'm not just talking about not just him. I have like first-hand experience with multiple dudes, very rich ones, which that tends to be the case, who are talentless at the things that they are celebrated for, but the celebration of their so-called amazing writing, or Elon is a great technologist and entrepreneur, job creator, whatever he says he is, futurist, right, world savior. He is the embodiment of like patriarchal capitalist culture, right, where it's just like white dudes saving the world, right? Like he literally is like the mirror image of in the real world of Iron Man, right? As I often bring up. But he himself is useless, like that rich dude that I work for who is completely talentless at writing because he didn't put work in. Right? It's not because yeah, I just wasn't born with it. I don't have it. I don't have the gifts. I don't have any skills. I don't have the gifts for it. This is bullshit. This is whiny little man baby excuses to not put into work to get good at things, including knowing their own superhero lore. They don't even want to read their own comics. They just want to make crap up, just like Terminator, right? Just like Predator. They don't want to realize that Predator was a final girl story. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a scream queen with man booby pecs instead of Jamie Lee Curtis boobs, and is not winning based on his muscle. We've gone over this with the Prey video I made a couple weeks ago, and but dudes don't want to go through the basic effort to know their own Predator lore, Predator canon, get their own story straight, know their own comic book canon. They want women to do that for them. So if they read the storyline, it makes any sense whatsoever and it's quote unquote logical, just like everybody was saying. Prey is illogical because a indigenous woman or a woman generally can't fight a predator because she doesn't have the giant muscle mass, right? Anyways. But dudes have been spoiled for far too long, generally, especially white dudes, especially rich white dudes. In their comic book characters, who gets to be the main characters, in who in their production of them, in the jobs and the pay amounts for people who work for movie companies, book companies, all work generally, all the wealth siphons upwards in the white and the male direction, and this is I mean, so She-Hulk is just like, it's just a little pushback. It's just like one show. It's not even the biggest Marvel show. It's just like a show based on a character. But it's like that thing, right? If there is one woman, if a woman speaks, like statistically, they've done like scientific empirical tests. If you have a border meeting or any kind of meeting where men are in a room speaking, if a woman speaks for more than 20% of the time, the dudes will be like, "Oh my God, there were so much women speaking." But there's so much women input. Like, why were there so much women speaking at a meeting, right? But if it's any more than 20%, that's already not even close to fair. That's like less than a quarter, right? But it feels like the man's space is being invaded. So like having like Miss Marvel and She-Hulk come out, and then having Miss Marvel and She-Hulk come out, and then having Predator Prey come out. Sorry, I'm trying to find having a Predator that has a female protagonist come out, like one, right? And you can watch this video if you want to hear my take on that. That feels like oppression, right? Because why? Because if you have become accustomed to privilege, equality can feel like oppression, right? If you're accustomed to everything being about you and your white dudeness or dudeness generally, then when there's like just like it's not even enough. It's just a little bit less dudes, right? There's just a little bit more women in the show. Then all of a sudden it feels like oppression. But the reality is this is going to happen like a lot more. It's going to happen like a lot more. It has to happen a lot more. But it's a metaphor for many things. That's why I said cry about it specifically. That is a quote from Eileen Gu, the U.S. Olympian, who said, "I'm not going to ski right this year for the U.S. I'm going to ski for China because, well, I mean, like that's what I feel like doing now. And also, you guys are racist and garbage, and I'm actually from there. So no, and you can cry about it, right? Because it also applies to everyone else, right? It's like between nations, right? Why should 90% of the work be done by global South nations, and then global North nations take all of the wealth and the profit, right? And that's only been because the global South nations were living in fear of war, sanctions, bombing, and there was no other deal in the room, right? And women also have been living right since the 50s in Stepford reality, where you needed a man who literally, you couldn't even have a bank account if you're a woman. You were basically, and you're under patriarchal domination. Women counted as property not long before that, and without the man to pay for the house and the food and your transportation and all your needs, because women's work didn't and still doesn't pay, right? Like care work and cooking and cleaning, right? Also, Asian people were only allowed to do women's work. You see, like the way the Asians are treated generally, and also women are treated. Deep overlap there. It's kind of, anyways. So you see that, and global South labor generally, right? That work is devalued, and then women needed, right, in the 1950s to have a man earn the money to pay for their basic necessities and their needs, right? Unlike these women. That's what scares the dudes, though, is that without, and the thing is, most white dudes, and dudes generally, but especially white dudes in the 1950s, in the mid 20th century, the so-called height of the so-called greatest country in the world, the United States, the patriarchal capitalist superpower. Dudes actually didn't do that much work in their job. Go watch Mad Men again. Mostly they sit around the office and schmooze and sexually harass and rape women inside of their offices like their secretaries. That's what America was built on. Patriarchal, white supremacist capitalism. And that's what it was in the 50s. It was not great. It was terrible. People talk about make America great again. This make America even more sexist and racist again, but it hasn't really gotten any better. But anyway, the point is that, like, there was no other option except to marry a man. And we were watching the other day, we were watching We Come in Peace movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still, and there are homes, there are group homes for widowed women or single women because they can't sustain themselves. It's like you're just waiting to marry a new man, right? You're waiting to marry a new useless man baby who schmoozes the office and benefits from the work of the non-man and non-white labor, and takes it home, and then comes home to his little castle, his suburban Stepford housewife, his 1.5 kids, his bouncy castle, his Thunderbird, and his nice white lawn, his nice green lawn, and his white picket fence surrounded house, right? And if you didn't marry a white man, you were destitute, you were impoverished, you were ruined. And it was the same in the Europe also, especially Britain, but this is not really changed forever. This is deeper than just the United States. And so you were always in fear, right? You were always in fear for your existence, and you always had to smile. If the dude was toxic, if the dude was emotionally abusive, financially abusive, if he didn't take a bath, or if he yelled and screamed at you, was physically abusive, if he had sex and you didn't get off ever, and it hurt a lot, actually, you had to smile and just, oh, that's so great, honey, and make sounds that sound good. This is pro tip, dudes. Like, that doesn't mean you're some kind of stud, but this is like, I'm saying this because this is something that dudes that I have known in high school, in college, and the rest of my life, this is how the talk has gone, right? It's like, I'm so good because the girl I had sex with made sounds. Oh yeah, man, we had anal. Oh, she gave me this blowjob. Oh yeah, you're so cool, man. Good job. That's the locker room, and that's just like dude talk generally, right? It's like you actually probably caused more pain than pleasure to the woman, and she was just hoping to get out of there soon. That's just a pro tip for straight cis hetero dudes, or just dudes generally. You don't know that. You care about sex, and you should get better. And you should, like, I don't know, figure out your own ways to learn and research that and figure that out. Sometimes you have to you just have to do some work. This is another thing too. People think, oh, it means I have to have a bigger dick. No, if you have a bigger dick, that could just mean you're going to cause more pain and more torture to the person that you claim to love. Usually dudes don't, though. They just want sex. Well, I should say, like, a lot of time they don't really. Somebody actually brought that up, like, wanting to get better at sex assumes that you care about the person you're in a relationship with. So you're gonna have to, like, I don't know, just not be terrible. I don't know how to solve that one. But anyways, we're gonna get to this conversation though, because there's multiple conversations that I was like, and threads that I put out there recently that I was thinking about this. But ultimately, the global South has an option. There's a multipolar reality to exist with. They don't have to work with abusive, imperialist. We take 97, like Germany. We take 97% of Bolivia's lithium. You keep 3, right? It's like the dude's like, here, woman, you have enough to cook, and you just have just enough food and a bedroom to live in. Even though I'm a abusive, torturous man-child tyrant, and I want you to rub my feet and cook all my food. And here's just enough to live while I go and have sex and cheat on you in the office, right? And come back. That's just Western culture, period. It's patriot, socialist, so-called left culture as well, from all the sexual abuse that has come out from the Communist Party of Canada, Caleb Maupin, and all these other people surrounding the so-called Western left, all these white dudes that throw shade at Landback. Anyways, that's just Western culture. It's this patriarchal, white supremacist, capitalist, shithead culture, even in what it calls itself the left. But that attitude of like, you give me everything, and then I give you just enough to continue existing. Bolivia, Africa, Asia. We take all your culture and your copper, and then we lecture you about how you need to sit down and, I don't know, restructure your government program and like just, shut up and let us take everything from you, right? And then for women, it's like, you sit down, wife, and do what I say, and I will give you just enough to live. Where did you get the money that you got that house to buy your wife, right, to live in, so that you can be your sex slave and you're cooking and cleaning? Where did you get that money from? Exploiting all the labor, disproportionately non-white, disproportionately non-dude labor in your office and the corporation that you work for. That's where you got that money from. The same thing in game companies that I've worked in. I mean, and this is companies that I personally have worked in. It's nonprofits, for-profit corporations, NGOs, governments, it's all the same. The whitest dude, or the dude that has somehow, or sometimes it could be like a dude in a woman's suit like Hillary Clinton, who leans in the hardest, right? But whatever it is, whoever's on the top is ripping everyone off beneath them, cheating on their spouse at home, in their office, or wherever they work, right? In the factory or wherever, and then they come home, and then they abuse their serf at home, their neo-feudal serf at home, called their wife. And that is how it has been, right? But now now the global South is like, well, maybe we could go with a non-abusive, win-win cooperative loan that China just forgave 23 plus countries in Africa all their debt. It's like giveaways, right? Ask Cuba what they think about that, right? Ask Bolivia how they got a free satellite that gave them mountains and mountains of education and save them huge billions of dollars of what it would have cost, and help them get onto a socialist, indigenous-led, self-determined path, right? There's another option, right? And so for women, it's other women and trans people and non-men, right? Or just not abusive people, right? They're like, whoa, I could just be in a relationship with another woman. I don't have to put up. Not to say that every woman is not going to be, have problems, but like the probability is much lower. You're not gonna have the same kinds of problems. You have other problems, but you're not gonna have the patriarchal one. and the likelihood that a cis hetero guy is going to be toxic, lazy, self-absorbed, and abusive is just amazingly higher. So you're gonna go, well, I'm gonna have a relationship with a woman like She-Hulk, hanging out with Meagan the Stallion, and not wanting to date some garbage, useless dude, right? I mean, it's like, well, look at that. Now we have options, and now people don't want to put up with ridiculous, unethical, just bizarre, horrific levels of inequality and sexual, physical, emotional abuse, and also painful, bad sex. Women who have sex with cis hetero men have vastly more painful, non-orgasmic, terrible sex. I'm telling you that to help you. If you're a dude watching this, I'm just telling you right now. That's just the statistics. Women are not necessarily, they're scared because if you're having, like, that's part of She-Hulk, right? If you say no or you if you're physically in a place with a dude, especially like three guys outside a bar, and you say no, you say something like that, you could die. You could be assaulted. You could be physically abused. If you're in a workplace, you could lose your job if you have one, right? Which is, she also like has to kiss up to the white dude who's mediocre and a dickhead, right? All of the bosses that she works for at least one or two bosses. They're all shitheads. That's like, I'm not, I mean, like, it's like, that's just life, that's just like life. Is you have probably a more whiter and a more maler likelihood is higher, not guaranteed, but it's like you have the more higher up the food chain you go in a Western patriarchal white supremacist system, you're gonna have a more likely have a white dude. At the very top, it's all white billionaires, right? Like Jeffrey Musk and Elon Bezos, right? So these people are it's just normal life. Even dudes know this, because if you're a working class dude at the lower end, you know that there's a richer, probably whiter dude above you that's making more money than you, doing less work. So you know this. The question is, are you there to destroy the patriarchy, or do you just want to prop up the patriarchy because you have a slightly better position on an unethical totem pole, pecking order? That's why I'm doing this, is because, number one, I don't, in the same way that white people have to help deconstruct the unjust system of whiteness, dudes have to help deconstruct and dismantle the unjust system of patriarchy. And first world colonizer people have to participate in the deconstruction and the eradication of genocidal settler colonial and colonialism generally. Or you're a piece of garbage. I mean, it's not your fault that you were born a white American or a male British person or a rich German, whatever you are. It's not your fault that you were born that way, but you have unless you want to perpetuate unjust, horrible systems and abusive, actual supervillainy, you have the responsibility. The Hawaiian word is kuleana, to fight against a system in which you were born at a position of privilege within. Or you can be a piece of garbage, and then everybody else will have to fight you. So that's part of why I'm doing this. Silver Spook, you're a dude. Why are you attacking dudes right now, right? You should be with all the men, right? You should be with all the guys going, the Me Too movement. Oh no, they're coming for all the guys. That's not even fair. Marvel is just going downhill. You should just join in on the bandwagon. No, like that's like saying, well, one time you might have the option. I mean, what are you, anti-capitalist? You might have the option to become a CEO. Maybe you could become a millionaire, so you should fight to maintain capitalism. That's basically how the West works, right? Well, you're white, so you should just hang on and have white solidarity, right, with Tucker Carlson, because, right, otherwise you're a traitor to your own people, going and helping the wokes, right, and helping the race war starters, and helping, right, that's Vosh's entire game, is like, look at all of these black women that are trying to start, that are calling for white genocide, right? And then, which is what, this is not just, Vosh is just one guy, man. All of the Western center right and much of the left is doing that. But no, it's like, you should, like all these clowns like Peter Coffin and Caleb Maupin and Ibn Farhaz going, land back is a corporate slogan, and we have to stop the wokes and stop these screeching rad-lib women who are partnering with people of color and indigenous people to, stop us from not reading Marx and just pretending like we're leftists. Is that what you're doing? White dudes, so-called leftists? Anyways, but whatever angle you're coming from, whatever position of power you should have, you should not complain that you're losing some of that power with disingenuous critiques of cancel culture, which is what most white dude leftists do on YouTube. If there are any left, and so-called progressives, that's what they do. You should call for the you as a dude should call for the dismantling of patriarchy, and you should like do your fair share of the work. I'm not saying you have to work. You don't have to twerk, because that's what that. Anyways, but you cannot continue to exist with some people doing in the same way that you as a dude, as a not rich dude, don't want to be taken advantage of by a richer dude, by Elon doing less work than you for more hundreds of billions of dollars. If you are a dude leftist, you should want to not have women do more work than you, based on chauvinism, right? Or and thinly veiling that with She-Hulk lacks seriousness with Mr. Martin Scorsese. I don't know exactly what, but lots of people are jumping on there going, yeah, She-Hulk is not serious because there's twerking in it. I mean, what the fuck? Loki was picked up by his arm and slammed around like a 3-year-old, just ransacking, their comic book studded bedroom with a rag doll of, it's like that was a joke, right? Loki getting slammed by Hulk. That was like, it's a joke. It's funny. Marvel has been silly and not very serious for a long time. You not remember this scene, right? And everybody loved. That's like one of the most dudes love this scene. This is like I've been in the theater when everyone, right, in the theater was cracking up to this scene because it's freaking funny. It's kind of ridiculous. What are these people even made of? None of this is logical. This is just comic book, as I said previously, right? It's comic when it's a bunch of dudes being ridiculous in a cartoon nonsensical fashion. It's fun, it's cool, and everybody is like picking up their Steven Crowder cup full of Jordan Peterson, alpha testosterone beef juice and going, cheers, mate. Yeah, that was awesome, dude. And then downing all of their, hydroxychloroquine and their, turmeric filled beef cubes or whatever they drinking gasoline to get the gains. I don't know what they're doing nowadays, but that nothing is serious. Nothing is logical. Nothing is, believable according to physics. That's what they said about Prey. That woman cannot possibly beat that predator. This is just a bunch of this is like, two dudes in a locker room whipping each other in the nuts with towels. I've been in the locker room, dude. I played football for a long time. Being misogynistic, ridiculous, silly clowns, except even more illogical. And everybody, that's like one of the most favorite scenes from that movie, But if women do twerking, it's illogical, right? Let's look at that one. Let's look at that. What'd they say about that? Let's look at what they said. Martin Scorsese came out and said, leaving internet fans divided. If this thing will ever load, let's see. I got too many things open, possibly. Okay, let's see if I can get that. The latest She-Hulk episode with Meagan Thee Stallion's twerking. It looks like it's not gonna load. I'm gonna give it a second. Maybe the patriarchal run YouTube algorithm is like upset with me now, and it's like not letting me load websites. Okay, maybe it doesn't load. Okay, so let me just see. Yeah, here you can see a little bit of the actual that's a trailer. That's Thanos. That's laser eyeballs. Yeah, because Meagan Thee Stallion and the She-Hulk are in the office. I don't want to give too much away, but let's just say they become friends over the course of that episode, right? See, is it? Yeah, looks like the internet broke. It looks like so many dudes are mad about it. Like 1 trillion men went up inside of that website just to comment on it and try to in all capitals destroy She-Hulk some more, right? So Disney Plus She-Hulk Attorney Law has been expanded. So I mean, what I wanted to get to is that how many more Marvel movies I gotta watch to make She-Hulk's to understand why She-Hulk shaking ass with Meagan Thee Stallion makes sense. See, this is the thing, right? Loki getting smashed around by Hulk, right? How many other ridiculous scenes are there, right? I mean, just like how are they? Why are the superheroes always mysteriously away from Earth when bad crap happens? Like, how does any of Spider-Man, all three of them, make any sense? Right? It's like suddenly all 56 superpowered mutants and space aliens like Miss Marvel just happen to disappear from Earth when little friendly neighborhood Spider-Man has a like, you know, level 2 out of 10 powered villain to fight, right? None of this shit makes any sense. It's comic book silly bullshit. It's action, like I said, I did a whole stream about action movie bullshit, right? It's action movie illogical, fun, and, you know, plot hole filled, whatever, right? But people only go for the plot, critique the white, like this dude, right? Not even necessarily all white dudes. This could be non-white dudes too. I don't understand. This doesn't make sense. Why is this happening, right? But the why doesn't this make sense argument? This is illogical argument, right? Like I went through the Predator Prey. Like, you know, let me see if I get that one. Prey, logic. Let's see. I think it was Gamer. Yeah. The review, right, where everybody came for it. Why is a small woman fighting a huge predator? That's illogical, right? This is complete nonsense. A child could have made a story make more sense. No, the thing is, man children make shitty movies like, you know, all the Avengers movies that are imperialist, star-spangled underpants, American military industrial complex propaganda, and billionaire philanthropist arms dealer playboy, white dude capitalism worshipping. They do make, you know, completely nonsensical movies like those, like I just said, right? The difference is when a woman stars in it, like in Prey, right? Then they come out with this movie does not make any sense. This supposed industry professionals that stitched together this Frankenstein monster of a narrative, blah, 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 blah. Otherwise, every single opportunity, this file crumbles as it seems supported by no intelligent design or competing casting. So this person also used a racist term for indigenous women. Don't use it. Determining the smelling if this abysmal dialogue has been supported by well-rounded characters, perhaps the flawed wording, blah blah blah. And it's just all like, this is flawed, this is bad, this is illogical, this is cheap, this is inaccurate. No, this is actually one of the most accurate movies. This Prey has far more actual research than any Marvel movie and all the Predator movies by miles. I don't know what this person is smoking. Well, his own Manchildren, belly button lint laced with the pubes of the quartering, obviously, but and Tim Pool videos that he's been guzzling. But this is dumb, right? Naru attaching a tomahawk to a string for quick returns is dumb. You know what's dumb? Jesse Ventura holding a anti-aircraft gun in Predator 1, right? Like I said, he has a handheld GE M134 minigun designed to for strafing jets to shoot at each other, right? To punch through military aircraft, launching thousands of rounds a minute. Like even the filmmakers and everyone else and military professionals, Jesse Ventura included, said, yeah, this is a movie and there's no way any dude's going to be walking around holding that gun. Jesse Ventura also is, by the way, Jesse Ventura is a fan of Prey. So Jesse Ventura is not only an actor, but he also is a former actual U.S. military Navy SEAL, if I'm not mistaken, who actually served in the military and also is against the U.S. military industrial complex, right? So there's at least one person you might want to think about as, well, what's my role model? Well, I mean, at least Jesse Ventura is a thought. That's what it is, right? Who is this person, right? Who is Jed the Hollywood scholar, right? With a bad Vosh white man drawing and a nice guy pickup artist fedora, not unlike Andrew Tate's favorite moniker, right? Who is Jed the Hollywood scholar? Some white boy at Reddit whose daddy put him in place at some big, huge firm, and now he spends all of his time not working while women do his office job or the game dev work, like most of the people that I've worked at, and then writes ridiculous articles complaining when women are in action movies and comic book shows. Is that who Jed is? I don't know who Jed is, but there's you can tell but somebody who actually not to say that I'm not saying join the U.S. military, and also he would say don't do that either, right? But it's like it is a creative and thoughtful movie. That is, and he actually said this actually is an update, and it has more realism than the first Predator in a lot of ways because it's like goes through the research of the history of the colonial period, indigenous peoples, Comanche history, down to the toothbrushes and the kind of potatoes and the pluricrop permaculture that maintain equilibrium with the environment and humans for thousands of years in Turtle Island, or potentially hundreds of thousands of years, depending on what non-racist archaeologists and anthropologists you talk to. But anyways, the point is that, that's just an example of how you cannot be a man-child garbage dude, right? Is to, give the credit where the credit is due and not get pissed off because there's movies that have even 20% women in the biggest flagship movies for entire cultures. I'm you know me, I'm not like some kind of Marvel, Disney, Hollywood stan. Generally, right? I'm not here for Marvel or DC or any Hollywood anything. I don't care about any of that. I mean, not that I don't care, but I don't have some kind of I don't have a Subway rewards card. Uber fan gold plated. I love Marvel or I love Disney or I love DC. I don't care. All this stuff to me is not even dealing with the global colonial capitalist and present history and present reality of illegally occupied Hawaii, right? So I'm not here for that. But I mean, it's a step in the right direction. I mean, military industrial complex, war propaganda that doesn't have all Iron Man white dude billionaires in it and has some women is better than military industrial complex capitalist propaganda that only has that. So I'm there's lots of other problems I have with all of Marvel, but I'm just saying She-Hulk is is moving in the right direction, but that's too much, right? It's 10% change in the right direction is too much. We have to go back to cis-straight white men like Iron Man and Captain America played by Chris Evans, right? And Thor played by a white Chris Hemsworth man. It's got to be all white dudes, right? Let's go, the biggest selling movies of all time in the West, in the United States and in the Western world, was Avengers, right? They haven't really recovered, right? Because the U.S. is also falling off a cliff. And I've last year, if you've watched my shows, you know my take on this, right? But who is the Avengers, right? This is the updated one. This is Marvel, right? This is the Project for a New American Century hegemon trying to look less racist, basically, right? And trying to look less sexist. But the original Avengers, right? Let's look at the Avengers like this, right? Because I think what it was the heads of the Harvard executives, the Harvard presidents, and the billionaire club and the Davos crowd watched Silver Spook's stream and they said, "Oh shit, Silver Spook's right. We're a bunch of white rich guys, feudal Aryan princes, and literal U.S. military 1940s war propaganda like Captain America. We're a bunch of white, powerful dudes saving the universe with a handful of token non-white and women characters behind us. That is really a bad look, maybe." That's what all of the suit jacket dudes are saying with their Stepford wives in the Disney backroom, right? So I'm not here for all of that. I'm not here to stand all of this. I'm there's lots of other problems. You can watch all of the last year's streams if you want to hear about them. But the She-Hulk is moving in the right direction, right? And it's so yeah. So anyway, so that I'm trying to tell that. So again, so this kind of what makes sense, right? And I feel like I've made that point a lot in a recent stream. What makes sense, what's logical, is not up for discussion. Actually, this is the same as Riddick. I'm gonna pull Riddick in because that was another thread that I made the other year. Riddick is a Vin Diesel show, and again, like Vin Diesel is not like leftist decolonized Jesus Christ or something. He's just a dude who has suffered under white supremacist capitalist patriarchy in New York City, right? And has some other things to say. Let me see if I can find that thread I made the other year, right? Because it's the same kind of things, the same kind of critiques came from Mass Effect. I don't even want to get that. I think I'm spelling that wrong. There you go. Oh no, I didn't make a thread. World Police. I'm trying to remember the phrases that I used. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. Okay, that's not it. That's the wrong one. Yeah, this one. So the Riddick universe. So Riddick is a show that stars Vin Diesel. It's pitch black. It's Riddick. It's Chronicles of Riddick, right? And the main character is a non-white prisoner, right? Which upset a lot of. I mean, which it had a lot lower review as a big action movie franchise and video game franchise in the noughties. It got a lot of negative press, despite it not really being any more or any less illogical. Vin Diesel's not. I wouldn't say he's any better or worse an actor as Chris Evans or Chris Helmsworth, right? Or Chris Evans, Chris Helmsworth, or Robert Downey, right? Robert Downey himself said, "I don't really act. I just show up and I just mad lib and barely. I have like drug withdrawals on set, and people record that, and that's the show. That's basically what he said, right? He's not, he's good at like making his little jokes and stuff, but there's not really a lot of acting to do in action movies, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger, there's some physicality to what they do, but although there's a lot less in Avengers because so much green screen, right? You're just being there while white and a dude. It's right. But anyways, my point is that like Riddick's universe is a lot better because it centers space prisoners and craps on space slave catchers, the police, and the space world police / the space U.S. military, represented by the Necromongers. Because Riddick is a non-white prisoner, right, in the show, right, in the movies and the games. It's also a colonial story because Riddick's entire planet has been crushed and destroyed by space imperialists, basically like Roman American coded space people, and now he's a prisoner like black people in the United States, right? Disproportionately in prison, right, after Europe colonized Africa and enslaved them. So it's the story is coming from a perspective of a non-white, non-first world, non-Western colonial, non-white dude U.S. perspective. It's coming from Vin Diesel's as a non-white dude from New York's perspective, right? And it's actually saying important things, right? Where Mass Effect is a game about being a white dude, right? Locking up the world, right? Taking all the bad people out in the world in the time in which America was bombing 7 countries, 7 years, right? This is the Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, the Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman smorgasbord that began after 9/11. Anyways, so the hot take is a lot of thumbs down, but a lot of thumbs down on Chronicles Riddick is because the West is full of racist cop and U.S. military stands that didn't like sympathetic people of color prisoners and Muslims coexisting peacefully with other religions in the space Middle East when the U.S. was demonizing them to make wars there, like in the noughties, right? With things like Zack Snyder's 300, that's about the great white Western fascist men whose women are only there to pump out non-disabled, perfect, eugenically pristine male Greek soldiers who also all look like, Gerard Butler, not like what the Greeks actually look like. Wonder Woman, also directed by a woman, similar to She-Hulk. Wonder Woman is more accurate to what the Greeks actually look like. That pissed off a lot of Western fans. I wonder why. But Riddick's is a similar thing, where you have a lot of thumbs down, right? Chronicles, it had so much bad. People are saying it's illogical. The script was bad. Vin Diesel I heard he was a convict and he went to prison. He didn't, right? It's in the movie. It's called acting. And then Patrick Stewart tell you he pretends to fall asleep and he says, you see, that's acting. Because I'm not actually asleep, just like I'm not actually the captain of a Federation of Planets international space ship, I'm acting. Vin Diesel is acting. But they said, well, you can't watch Vin Diesel movies because he's a prisoner. He's bad, right? But again, white dudes and dudes being asked to know actual facts and actual history and actual lore of their favorite series is too much to ask. Again, Hellion, so the Muslims coexisting peacefully with other religions. So that was a huge problem because the U.S. was trying to get all of their dudes to sign up to go kill people in Iraq and Afghanistan and take all the resources, right? And then Donald Trump came out and said, we take the oil. And everyone's like, oh no, that's bad. And it's like, except we want to take the oil, but don't say that, right? Anyways, but Hellion is, so my point is that similar to She-Hulk, right? The critiques of that's illogical. That doesn't make sense. Why is She-Hulk twerking with Meagan Thee Stallion? Like what? Why is nobody there to help fucking Spider-Man? Why is the great these so-called great peoples and Nick Fury and everybody over there making a little teenager who has no experience go fight like supervillains and get his life endangered because they abuse children like Spider-Man? That's the reality. But that's just normal New York, American, LA millionaire culture, is abuse children and sexually abusive to your spouse, like I already said. So that's why they don't see any problem abusing Spider-Man. Because it, I'm not. It's a movie, right? But that is in there. And also, how does it make sense that Jesse Ventura is holding the minigun? Right? It doesn't make sense. This is the answer. It doesn't actually make sense. It's a movie. It's not real. It's entertainment for bored, diseducated Westerners who worked 10 hours today and they want to munch popcorn and then get drunk and have bad sex later. That's going to be painful for all the women in the bedroom because nobody knows how to have sex either. So anyways, that's when you're watching the movie. It's a time in which you are checking your brain out. And so nobody cares about logic or research or anything in the West. Otherwise, they wouldn't be worshiping Adrian Zen's a literal neo-Nazi when he writes propaganda, who believes in biblical spanking and that women should be second-class citizens along with gay people, and said that Jews should burn in a cauldron in hell until they're melted down into something else. And they wouldn't believe his. Liberals wouldn't believe his. That's not even the right. They're talking about liberals and so-called progressives. Don't do any research there, and they believe his propaganda on things like Xinjiang. But anyway, that's another big can of worms. My point is that like nobody cares about truth and facts, really, especially not the dudes in real life or in movie world. And so who the fuck cares? It's a movie. In real life, you should care about actual truth and history and real facts. Maybe one time the West is gonna have to figure that out. That's gonna be a hard one because there's a lot of facts that don't support your side. But instead of just continuing to gaslight and deny the reality, you're gonna have to actually get better. But it's very similar. The colonizer, Western imperialist, wealthy abuser countries, disproportionately white and Euro, going to have to the dudes in the West are like the microcosm, right, of their larger country entities. You're gonna have to stop denying your own abusive, exploitative, unequal treatment of the rest of the world. Like the dudes are gonna have to stop denying their abusive, exploitative, unequal treatment of women in their households, right, in their date nights. Or you're going to keep crying about it. But I feel like I've said that before. So, but back to Riddick. So, and so that was a lot of. So it's a similar thing where it's like, we're upset because this show is they're not gonna. The action movie fans are not gonna come on and say, I don't like that there's a non-white dude, Vin Diesel, as the main character of this action movie. I want to see myself. I want to see me. Tucker, Bob Clinton, Eastwood the third, going to a Muslim country in space or on Earth, right? Like in Black Hawk Down, or in Counter-Strike, or 2,000 years ago in 300 with the Greeks and the Persians. I want to see a white Gerard Butler looking ancient Greek man or present American soldier or a space future man going to the Middle East, killing brown people as the world police. I don't want to see a brown colonized black person teaming up with a peaceful Muslim, which is what it was before the U.S. invaded and set up the apartheid there. Right? As a coexistence between, Riddick is actually based on the history of the Middle East and Africa and Asia in a lot of ways. It's a history that has peaceful coexistence between Christians, Muslims, and Jews until the U.S. and Western imperialist entities intervened and set up what the current situation is in the Middle East. Right? So this is not just it's space science fiction action movie stuff, but it actually is saying something very real. Right? And white dudes didn't want to see who they were, which is racist, abusive, misogynistic, stormtroopers for the empire, killing Muslims for their richer masters, adding notches to their belt like Chris Kyle, literal fucking KKK racist, right? Not unlike the present day Azov battalion Nazis who worship Stepan Bandera and grease their bullets in pig fat to send orc Muslims to hell. Horrible racist slurs, right? And that's what Europe and the United States want to see. They don't want to see Muslims. I just watched a show. I recommend you watch a show called, speaking of Muslims, Harder They Fall. Is it The Harder They Fall? I'm pretty sure that's the one. Yeah. No, it's not the other. Sorry, that's the Black Cowboy movie. We Are Lady Parts. That's what it was. You should watch Harder They Fall too. I confuse it. That's the all black cowboy movie. We Are Lady Parts is the Muslim women punk band in the UK movie. And I highly recommend you watch that because the UK really hates Muslims and so does Europe. That's the reality. The French, the Germans, they're not going to say it out loud. They try to keep it on the down low and just say America bad. They all hate Muslims in Africa. That's why they all let all the white, blonde hair, blue-eyed babies into Europe and they kept all the black people starving and out of their nice, pristine white countries. And that's what they want to see, right? And that's why Lady Parts is very important because it's Muslim women in Europe, whatever. I mean, UK is deeply European, whatever it wants to think. Speaking about their own experiences and playing music in a punk band, right? An actual punk band, not a bunch of angry white boys saying that punk was destroyed because there's a trans bassist in some band, right? Which is what a lot of so-called punks say about a lot of punk. But these are just angry white men who are actually fascist inside. Jumping around with mohawks, and then they got jobs at Lockheed Martin or in their daddy's office in Microsoft, right? That's who a lot of, and cyberpunks, by the way. So anyways, but back to this though. So when you don't, and so when you don't see who you think you are reflected as an American, right? As Captain Star Spangled Underpants, right? As Mr. Not Avengers 20, trying to find the old poster, not the one where they're, regooding themselves. If you don't see yourself reflected as the saviors of the universe, right? Like Marvel, which is, straight up imperialist, military, as I've often already said 3 times, just straight up propaganda funded and operated by the U.S. empire that Hollywood is a propaganda arm for. Then you get upset because, and then you attack the logic, the consistency. The script was bad. It's just like random vague attacks at the logic of what are illogical action movies, right? Or just, in the sense of like basic time and space and, physics. This stuff is just entertainment, right? Especially action movies in particular. And so, but they come out with all of these attacks for Riddick. They come out with these attacks for Prey. They come out with these attacks now for She-Hulk. She-Hulk because it's women, and and Riddick because it's non-white and non-Western and non-Christianity being centered. Anyway, Helon is home to many people of many cultures, and we managed to coexist in peace, united by a purity of spirit. This is Imam, one of the most likable characters in Riddick, a black Muslim played by Keith David, a black Muslim in the United States. You know who else? Tupac Shakur, famously taken out by the U.S. capitalist white supremacists because it was getting dangerous and hot in here. And Nancy Pelosi is part of taking the formerly not white Italians and Irish and funneling them all into white supremacy to prevent a black Italian anti-imperialist and indigenous black Italian indigenous and women-led anti-capitalist, anti-patriarchy, anti-imperialist alliance from forming. That's part of why Nancy Pelosi is, I would argue, in her position, is to funnel them in the right direction. Because Marlon Brando was who invited Sachin Littlefeather, the indigenous woman, to call out Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, the racist, and all of Hollywood, the anti-communist, racist, anti-indigenous movies about killing Indians, right, and white men with guns. It was an Italian dude, right, who he lost a lot of he didn't get a lot of jobs shortly after that. Hollywood was very upset at him, right, when he didn't show up and he had an indigenous woman show up at the Oscars, and Bruce Wayne had to be restrained from violently attacking the indigenous woman, Sachin Littlefeather. It took Hollywood 50 years to kind of apologize for, except not really. Was there reparations, Hollywood? There aren't any. So I would argue that's a big part of what was going on there. But also, right, Imam is one of those, and so it's in the 90s there was also a lot. I mean, Wesley Snipes, Keith David, Tupac. There was a lot of power being built up that was not white and it was not Christian. You know what it is? Because a lot of Africa, where basically the vast majority of black people can trace ancestry to, has huge and had huge historically Muslim populations. And it isn't any wonder a white Europe and Euro settler world hates black and Muslim world, right? I mean, a world with black and Muslim people in it that are empowered, because all of the vast majorities of their plunder, their $450 trillion stolen from places like Africa, right? And from the settler colonized genocide of indigenous people in North and Central and South America, or Turtle Island, right? It's not any mystery why they hate these movies. It's because it's counter to everything that keeps them in their mansions and their castles and their ridiculous cyber trucks and with their ridiculous space companies that they mismanage, right? And that's why Europe is all in NATO, to help their daddy United States continue to kill and bomb Muslim countries and take all the resources. Like France just increased their bombing and killing of Yemenis people to secure their oil, right? The so-called progressive France. It's like, oh, France, they have so many strikes. Yeah, what are they doing to the rest of the world? What are they doing to Yemen? What are they doing to Africa, right? What is Macron going down there and trying to secure more of their oil and more of their uranium in Niger that has 90% people in the dark with no electricity whatsoever, right? Anyway, but I'll get off of this because we got to get back to She-Hulk. But I have this whole thread about Riddick if you want to read that, and then the space Roman. So, but it's very important because it showed peaceful coexisting Muslims and there are Muslims, there are Christians, there are Jews, there are other religions in New Mecca, which is a planet it's a space. So I like Riddick. A lot of Neofeud 2 and a lot of work that I do is a lot of it is I drew a lot from Riddick because it's a movie that is in space, it's in the future, but it understands that you cannot escape the history and the milieu of Earth, and it codes everything very specifically because you think like The Expanse is a bunch of white dudes thinking that they can make science fiction that escapes the reality and history and the baggage of Earth, racism, colonization, capitalism, patriarchy. But that's why I really had to tear that shit apart, because it makes for a worse fiction, to be honest. Anyways, and also it's wrong. But back to this. Then Space Roman U.S. Empire launches an airstrike. It slaughters everyone for the resources. Riddick's planet and people before being dumped in Riddick's planet and people before being dumped in prison system. Join the Necromonger religion and pillage with us or you die. Kind of like colonized POC, now overrepresented in the U.S. military. And it has this is really a design because it's Greco-Roman coded pillars with medieval European armor in style and American style assault rifles, right? It's a merger of all of what the what Voltaire called the the illusory Christian historiography of Europe, right? Which is that we had the greatest civilization in the world. It's called the Greeks and the Romans, that it was our forefathers, and we are carrying into the future their legacy. But it takes all of that and it kind of merges it in a interstellar, galaxy-wide science fiction story, and it shows who they are, which is a bunch of murdering, apocalyptic cult, death cultists who force you to join their militaries and their fights to die for the rich and the powerful, or you will die on the spot right here, right? Which is what the U.S. and France are doing, and Europe is doing, arming and funding Nazis in Ukraine, and backing right-wing imperialists in Taiwan and all over the goddamn planet. So this is why Riddick, I think, is very, just a little side. I know this is a big sidebar for Riddick, but this is why I think it's a show that is so underrated. It's amazing underrated. I recommend you, if you haven't seen it, I recommend you. I've done like multiple streams last year about this, but if you haven't, I recommend you watch every single and play every single Riddick game if you play games, and watch every single Pitch Black, Riddick, Chronicles of Riddick, etc. Because and watch it again, right? Thinking about how everything is in its meta narrative, what it is actually saying about all of human history, on top of space, future. Kind of like anyway, so this is the actual ship that shows up and massacres the Middle East. It's amazing to me, they think that this show was made while the U.S. and both the Democrats and Republicans were pushing hard for war in the Middle East, blowing up Iraq, bombing into smithereens Afghanistan towns and cities, right? Spending $21 trillion in total, and in future expenditures for the additional healthcare that all of the warmongers and the military-industrial complex benefited. So the everything about this movie is saying the things that need to be. I can't. It's amazing that Vin Diesel tricked Hollywood into making this movie, right? So, anyways, kind of like the for-profit war, bombing, genocide, and exploitation of resources from Syria to Iraq to Afghanistan to Palestine that the U.S. and allies continue to engage in, disproportionately of Muslims. So, to be clear, like, this is what the U.S. is. Europe as it begins to freeze in the dark, right? And Britain is literally threatened. People will not be able. People are choosing in parts of Europe to freeze or to starve, and some people in Britain are going to do both. Like, literally, they're saying this is people are going to die of starvation and exposure. But what is Europe doing? Are they trying to cooperate peacefully with East and Muslim countries? Are they saying, I'm sorry, I treated you guys so badly? No, they're going with the United States against with ridiculous imperialist sanctions and aggressive warmongering that is actually hurting them, and it's pretty amazing and pretty sad, right? And France is literally killing more Muslims in Yemen. So the great socialist light on the hill of so-called socialist light on the hill of France, right, seeks control of Yemen gas facility. It's one of the greatest human rights crises and atrocities of the 21st century is the massacres of hundreds of thousands of innocent people, backed by the entities like the U.S. and France, blowing up school buses. Right. This is and their solution is not to cooperate. Their solution is to kill, murder, and secure more resources. So they're just doubling down and tripling down and quadrupling down and quintupling down. And anyways, so. So if you don't know this, this is what, and so this is the reality that Riddick is pointing to. And it's 300 glorified Western white hyper-militarized society fighting for freedom despite being a fascist monoculture of soldiers and wives, right? As fundamentally virtuous and good, and versus gender fluid, non-white Middle Eastern peoples as fundamentally evil and corrupting. So like feminine, 7 foot tall Muslim, Asian / African people are the most horrible thing. Zack Snyder himself literally said the most horrible thing I can imagine is a 7 foot tall gay man, and that's why he said that. Zack Snyder, he said that out loud, and that's why he made Xerxes that way. So, so this is the history of Europe. What calls itself Europe as a project of white supremacy, fascism, eugenicsism. It is ableist as shit. I mean, literally, they kill imperfect white infant children are thrown into a pile of dead baby bodies. So they are literally eugenicists. If you don't believe me, go watch the show again. And this show was made and loved by the United States action movie audiences. Nobody was upset about any of that. Snyder's film helped foment anti-immigrant Islamophobia that Trump later ran on and manufactured consent for the war on terror, the $21 trillion forever wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, etc., to beat back Muslim hordes. Right. So this has the films have real world impacts. Right. People think this is not really fun in games. Right. This is not just the films, the books. This is why there's a major fights over CRT and over the quote anti-woke bills, because what kids learn in school is what is going to be installed in their minds. On top of all the books, all the movies, everything you consume as a human is what makes you who you are. All of your interactions and your scientists know this, right? And people kind of understand this in a kind of vague, general sense, but it also means that who you are and the horrible things that are happening are based on all of what you consume in formal education and in informal education, which sometimes can be even more powerful, right? Because when you're in school, as I often say, you are at least you're being taught things, right? And you're thinking, but when you're watching a movie, your critical mind is checked out, and you're just mass consuming very impactful, emotional, which is those things are very much remembered. Normalization of all kinds of racist, patriarchal, imperialist concepts while you're just watching your Marvel movie or your action movie or whatever it is, or your show, right? Or just interacting with your friends and you're all like, oh yeah, no, there's lots of genocide happening over there. You're reading an article and they just drop in a line about it. Oh, and all the genocide that, these people are enacting, or, Saddam Hussein, he's got these weapons and he's going to nuke us any second, right? If you remember that time period. That's where the real powerful stuff happens. And that's why all the money goes into media and into movies, and also into making sure that nobody learns any history of racist and sexist and colonialist America. Anyways, okay, back to She-Hulk though. That's enough of that. But it's so people getting upset because of the lack of quote unquote logic is nonsense. And I've said that several times, so I'm going to move on from that. But also, like, on the dudes needing to grow up. Just bringing it back from 10,000 years ago and 2 million years in the future. In the present day, right? This is one of the things that I was looking at, and I was like, it's not just right now, but it's a thing I've been thinking of for a long time. There was this article in Slate. It read, women are demanding a lot more from men during sex these days. What happened? Do I need more cardio, more therapy, more eyeliner? Somebody said, you need to wipe that painful expression off your face. You look like your forehead really hurts. Also, why are you dressed like Tim Pool and some kind of white YouTuber, right? Why do you look like that? That's just a bad look generally. People are going to be like, oh my God, this is some misogynistic, racist piece of shit. And they're going to walk off diagonally at the party. They're going to be like, I'm not even Meagan the Stallion. I'm just an average, normal human person that is femme presenting, and I am not going out with that. Oh my God. Right? So that's just pro tip 1 from Silver Spooks. Dating tips for dudes. But also, there was another, there's a pattern here, right? Do we remember, I recently was commenting on men, healthy relationships. Yeah. Try having, so this is another article that recently came out, right? The rise of lonely single men, dating apps, and a drastically changing relationship landscape. So this is an article that came out recently. The dating opportunities for heterosexual men are diminishing as healthy relationships standards change. Men represent approximately 62% of dating app users, lowering their chances for matches. So the takeaway there is healthy relationships. So this is more about just on the the romantic, talking and the dating aspect, right? Heterosexual men can't get dates. It's like but you see, it's very much centering the men, right? It's like we should feel really bad and really sorry for the men who can't get a date and don't have any girlfriends, right? Not what should be focused on, right, is why have heterosexual men been allowed to treat their romantic partners badly? So it should be like the rise of healthy relationships. This is like, if I was gonna write puff pieces, and if it's Silver Spook's dating column, right? Silver Spook's dating column for actually based dudes that want to get rid of patriarchy and also happen to be colonized Native Hawaiians under the U.S. Empire's toxic jet fuel poisoned water supply, right? Silver Spook's dating column advice number 1. I'm gonna change all of your headlines. So this should not read the rise of lonely single men, right? This article should read, good news. Romantic relationships are getting healthier. Men fucking get better at being in relationships. Stop being an asshole. That's how it should read. Now I know not everybody's gonna read that article, but that's okay, because the U.S. and Europe are going to lose more privilege, just like men are gonna lose more privilege. That's just reality, right? If you want equality, people who have a lot more are gonna lose some of what they have. Period. There's not really any. There's no corollary. There's no wiggle out. But that's what the Western left, right? That's what a lot of people have been beating around the bush with this kind of stuff, right? You are going to lose, and you're going to have to do more work, and you're going to have to put up your equal share of the work. I'm sorry, dudes. I'm sorry, first world countries. You're going to have to work harder, and you're not going to be able to be a lazy fucking bum, crybaby, man-child, and just throw a tantrum when you want shit. The more that women coddle men, the less they will change, the longer the restoration of equality will take. The more the global South nations just go, okay, well, we'll keep working with France, because what if the French like get a little cold this winter? Motherfucker, the people of Niger have had no electricity for the last centuries, despite all of your Western aid. You can freeze your ass off before and make a product that is worthy of trade with the rest of the world, and trade for the gas, and stop being an imperialist asshole and accept the Russian gas. That's what you can do. So grow up, France. Contribute. French working class and capital class, you're gonna have to produce things of value. You're not gonna be able to just like go and shop in the upper echelons of New Versailles. You can't just go to Pigalle. You can't just grab your Versace and your 25 different bags of clothes and overconsume resources and light your Eiffel Tower with millions of starving African children's uranium. Turn the motherfucking Eiffel Tower off. Turn your Paris off. Make something useful for the world rather than just Western propaganda at France 24, right? Don't hire all of your French people to sit around offices sexually abusing women, disproportionately Muslim women and Filipinos. The French like to abuse Filipinos. I have it on a French employee at an office literally said, I had a girlfriend that was Filipino, and my boss, my white French boss said, oh, Filipinos are only for sex, never marriage. So you're going to have to stop being a racist, sexist French person. You're not going to be able to like co-spy on the laurels of we had a revolution one time. You didn't. You maintained capitalism and imperialism. You're going to have to stop being an imperialist shitty country. You're going to have to like produce like, I don't know, more baguettes, waffles, fucking like figure out something to do. Stop stealing shit from Yemen and Africa, France. Britain, stop stealing shit from the rest of the world. Give all of the $400 million of jewels and emeralds and diamonds on the Queen's head and everyone else's body back to Africa. Give us all of our indigenous artifacts back, Germany. Germany, give the stolen revenue from Bolivia and the lithium back. Repatriate. Fun fact, I actually know one German anti-imperialist. He's actually one of our supporters who is helping to repatriate large quantities of revenue by actually materially benefiting people trying to build concrete businesses and wealth in Africa. So that's what you can do. Actually, I talked to him like earlier this year. He's one of our he played Neofeud, and he's like, so that's what you can do is you can you can begin to repatriate wealth to the places that you have continue to benefit from the stealing of it from. You can work harder to keep doing that, produce things of value, stop backing needless conflict with your imperialist NATO masters and U.S. hegemon masters. So break up with your own abusive sugar daddy, Europe. That's what you got to do. And men, you're gonna have to put in the actual work sexually. You have to get better at sex. Just Hulk smashing that, and thinking you have a bigger dick. That's why is there like 90% of spam is penis enlargement shit? Is because porn is an industry sold to little man children who think that having a giant dick makes you good at sex. It doesn't. It actually can make things a lot more painful. It doesn't help. Having a big dick makes you probably worse at sex because you think you're good when you're actually not. You having a bigger dick means you have a larger likelihood of maybe torturing women in the bedroom. So you gotta, but the profligacy of the spam folder full of dick enlargement is a symptom of completely incorrect education and a lack of both knowing how to have sex on the part of men in the West, and perverse, messed up conceptions of what women want, which is all wrong. And I can tell you this. You know how I know this? Because I hung out in lots of locker rooms, in dude gaming circles, driving in high school, talking to other dudes in college, in workspaces, in academic settings, in blue collar settings. And every time men talk about sex, it's like, oh yeah, you hit that really hard with your giant dick. Oh yeah, man, that giant dick. That's not what. That's that. I mean, I'm not saying that people don't have different preferences. People are not monoliths. Neither indigenous people nor women's needs in the bedroom, but what men perceive as is good sex. And if I don't have a giant dick, that means something's wrong with me. No, that's called capitalist penis pill sellers trying to make more money, like capitalist diet culture trying to make more money selling you what you think you want. Except in this case, it's selling penis extenders to dudes with weird Napoleon complexes put there by patriarchal, diseducated Western culture. So I'm just telling you, I'll give you that one for free. Give you that for free. So get better at sex. I'm not going to tell you exactly where to research that. Don't research it in your spam folder. Don't research it with other men. That's not going to actually tell. I know it's hard, but what women don't want to talk to us? Well, yeah, because they're scared for your life, because it's patriarchal, and dudes regularly beat up, rape, and kill women, and less than 1% of all rapes are ever solved, and the deaths are not solved, especially if you're indigenous, missing and murdered indigenous women. But not just for them, just generally. So I know it's hard. There's a show called Pink Spots, and if anybody has any good recommendations, I couldn't think of any off the top of my head. But I'm telling you this for free based on some conversations that I have had with non-men. As much as I can gauge, you need to get better at sex. You need to provide. You need to put in as much economic and financial support, paying that rent, paying for your vehicles, paying your own way. Women are not going to date you because you're not worth dating financially, sexually, romantically. So you're gonna get better at those things, or there's gonna be a lot of single, horny, sad dudes dying alone, crying about it. So, and that's how it's going to be, period. The end. There's not really an argument to be had. That's just what's going to happen. So, I mean, there's not going to be capitalist, there's not going to be any people on Earth because it's going to be nuclear war and climate Armageddon, or there's going to be no more patriarchy and no more capitalism, which come together along with the racism. So, yes. Anyways, so I just wanted to say that. So, if you're mad about Meagan, you should not be worried about Meagan Thee Stallion and She-Hulk twerking. You should be worried about how you're never going to have sex again. And you're never going to be in a relationship again. And you're going to be lonely and single forever if you don't work to make yourself better. That's what you should be worried about. This is just a movie. It's just a movie. But your life, unless, I don't know. I'm not saying that to hurt your feelings. I'm saying that because that's the truth. Although I know some dudes are already mad, and I'm sure there's gonna be some comments. There were already comments on other videos and tweets that I put out. But I'm just I'm trying to do God, who is obviously Vin Diesel. I'm trying to do Vin Diesel God's work. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not doing this I lost like 20, 30 followers on Twitter when I fucking made that thread about how these useless dudes are around here. And they need to grow up and do their fucking job and do some work and, actually be, going to work at an office too. That's a part of it, This is based on my own experience with the white dudes and white inside dudes that I've worked with in game companies, in other companies. And I'm saying this as a dude because it's actually important for dudes to say this because dudes don't listen to women also. That's what women don't say anything. Well, if they say anything, you don't listen. So I'm the dude presenting person that's going to come out and tell you what I think some people needs to hear. The dudes that I've worked with in games and in other job settings have expected to do a lot less work and have expected the non-white people and especially the women to pick up all the extra work and then take credit for it. And when and women like in She-Hulk have been used to having to do that. It's always the secretary or the manager who are usually women. When it was a nonprofit job, there were like 3 women that were doing all the work, and there was a dude who would walk around the office and talk about the football game and with his college buddy making like mid 6 figures, as women are making like 40,000 a year, doing 10 times as much work as him. And that's how all the offices, nonprofits, and government situations I've been in have been, including game companies. So that shit. So if you're a dude, just being a dude, you are socialized into that kind of patriarchy expectations and entitlement. And that expectations and entitlement has to be undone with lots of other stuff. You can undo some of the racism stuff. You can think that capitalism is bad, but there's a whole other thing there underlying all of this that is this gross inequality in responsibilities, work, what counts as work. That's what, like I said, we had this whole panel recently, right, on Luna's channel about patriot socialism, right, and why that is patriot socialism. We had this whole discussion about how the Western left, right, with Luna and Black Professor Flowers and Nigel Cherion, and who is a former Communist Party of Canada member, which fell apart because of sexual abuse of white dudes, a lot of them, inside of the Communist Party, right? Being covered up, allowed, enabled, right? Sexual abuse of non-men and women, predominantly, by white men, predominantly. That caused a collapse. Not that caused a collapse, but that was not good ever and helped dissolve that entire thing because women were expected to allow it to happen. Just don't talk about it. Just let it keep happening. Just let it happen, right? Just give me consent for what you don't want. It's called rape. Just give me consent even though you don't want this. In the Communist Party. Anyways, Bother Boy lost to his indigenous and Lunar. And so we're talking about the Western left, and which is what? Dudes pissed off, right? That women have what, unions in Starbucks, and saying that the real workers are not nurses. And Jackson Hinkle was one of these people. Nurses, educators, academics, Netflix engineers. These are not real working class people. Basically, he's like literally saying, when women do work, it doesn't count as work, right? That is what passes for the left. That is what passes. That like the biggest, most encompassing swaths of what calls itself the Western left, right, is basically barely mask on fascism, white dude fascism. That's what it is. Like, let's just be 100 about that. They're already the Patriot Socialists have fallen apart. They're already rebranding themselves, right? And so, like, this is not just a problem because it's fucked up. This is like deeply embedded, right? This is deeply embedded in places like the United States and the Western world, right? It's like the only explanation for people saying that those jobs are not working class jobs is misogyny. It is because these people, again, some of them are even, they have anti-imperialist, leftist, socialist, communist, right? Communist Party of Canada, right? Caleb Mount, anti-imperialist. I mean, he might even say some true things about what was happening in the global South and with U.S. aggression against other large countries. But so you could be right on capitalism's not the problems of capitalism. You could have read Marx and Lenin and Engels 25 times through. You could have done all the courses. You have a PhD, you have an 8-year degree from an accredited university in Marxism. I knew one of those, right? But you have not examined your misogyny. You have not examined your internal anti-womenness, your expectations of, well, that's not even, how can you say shit like that's not a real job? The only way you can say that that's not are people like putting effort and labor into a thing, right? Does Howard Schultz's multi-billions of dollars that he has as the white man CEO of Starbucks, did that money get accumulated to him magically? Do you even know what the labor theory of, do you know any basic, do you know what a profit is? Ever? So-called leftists? Jackson Hinkle, Peter Coffin, Caleb Maupin, Vosh, all these clowns that lead the Western left. Tucker Carlson is not Western left, but he's the leader of Western culture in the United States. Do you know what any of those things are? No, either you don't know shit or you're just deeply, amazingly misogynist. And some of them don't. They're just complete grifters who got through half of the Communist Manifesto, and now they're making $5,000 a month on Patreon talking to other white dudes about how we're going to have a socialisms by getting rid of the woke and the SJWs, right? Along with all the Gamergate and the Phantom Menace guys, right? They just went Gamergate, Phantom Menace, Nazi Party, straight into now I'm a leftist. So all of those people, right, are very upset. But no, it's because women, it's time and it's energy and it's 8 hours of your life. It's fucking grueling to work in some of these service industry jobs. The billions of dollars that McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, and Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks, made is on the labor of all of those many women and women-coded jobs like cooking, cleaning, and serving coffee. And it is valuable, and you know that because all the labor value is accumulating to the CEOs of these companies, and so and also it's just work period. But either the ignorance or the misogyny, right? So either you're just an idiot, you don't understand what work is, or you have been in a patriarchal society trained to believe that what your mom did, which is cooking and cleaning, doesn't count as work, or what your wife did, which is cooking and cleaning. Now she's left you for Meagan Thee Stallion or an actual woman. Women and non-men, leave all your men right now. Just leave them all if they don't give you exactly equal. They don't give you equality. Get the fuck out of there. I even told my partner. I told Holly, like, if for some reason, I don't know, something happens, like I become a capitalist shithead and I start wanting to get yachts and I start a crypto Neofeud NFT and I don't know, become a crappy person or something, right? Go against everything I'm saying. Leave me and marry, or you do whatever you want. Get in a relationship with don't get in a relationship with a dude, because chances are it's going to be garbage. And so I'll be like, 100%. Just leave. You should don't put up for one more second with these shitty dudes. Let them all be sexless. Let them fall apart in their capitalist NFT crypto tiers. It'll accelerate the decline of patriarchy. Just leave them all. Don't give them any more free labor. Don't give any more dudes any more free fucking labor. The more you do, the longer it just perpetuates this incorrect and unjust notion that care work and cooking and cleaning is not work, which is false. Which, if you want a Western left, the dudes and the men and mask presenting, or people who have been socialized as men like me, have to learn that hard lesson the hard way, because they don't seem to be learning it the other way. I'm trying to help them in the easier way, but I don't think that's going to be enough. I think you're going to have to leave all of your men and just date other people. Just like She-Hulk does. I think that's another reason why they don't like this, because it's women either going, I don't need a man, or women going, maybe I'll be friends and I'll be partners with other women. And that's scary for them, because they want it to be with Meagan Thee Stallion, but She-Hulk is with Meagan Thee Stallion. Well, cry about it. You don't deserve Meagan Thee Stallion. Or most women, period. So, yeah. So I mean, from whatever perspective, do you want the end of capitalism? Do you want the end of landlords? A lot of people go, oh yeah, I hate the landlords. But like I said, if you want communism, it's work to survive capitalism, and it's more work to build communism in capitalism. So just chilling out, playing video games, jerking off, and whining about shit all day long and crying to yourself is not gonna get you the communism that you pretend that you want, but you don't. What you want is to have a hammer and sickle in your bio, play video games, and have someone else take care of all your needs and go to work for you. That's what you actually want. You don't want communism. You want to be a feudal crybaby lord. You want to be a capitalist lord sitting around in your mommy's attic. That's what you want. Pretending to be a communist. That's what you actually want. So yeah. Try having healthy relationships with heterosexual men. So I try having healthy, but you know, pro tip for the dating though, try having healthy relationships, right? Because what is the other option? I mean, this is why, right? This is why the U.S. is banning abortion, right? Abortion access is banned and works in limbo. Most of the United States is banning. The federal government is passing bans. This is why women are being talked about as becoming property again. Because the other option is try to re-enslave women, put them back in the closet and make them property. So you can be a shitty, lazy piece of shit dude and continue to be unjust and a bad sex partner and a bad romantic partner for women. That's the other option, right? And that's where the West is going. That's where the U.S. is going. And that's why they love Tucker Carlson, because it's patriarchal. And, you know, so again, go on sex strike, go on dating strike, you know, like a general women's strike. Don't fuck, don't date, don't talk, don't care work, don't do any work for any dudes. Right? Because they're saying you're not a worker. Well, I ain't doing no work then. Okay? Just don't do no fucking work. Yeah. And then you know, I was watching this video. Another quick shout out for was it Ilima Long? There was a recent panel that was about, speaking of the left, about also connecting, because the thing is, a lot of those white dudes, right, Peter Coffin, Caleb Maupin, they had that panel, why land back is a corporate slogan. It's a bunch of grifty white dudes, so-called leftists, saying that land back is fake and indigenous people are teaming up with Bill Gates or some shit, right? This panel, though, was a very good one. I recommend you check it out. Kapayo Okahi was the crossroads of indigenous and working class struggles. Had Nick Estes, Lubna Kutami, I think is a Palestinian that's fighting in that struggle as indigenous people there. Jolene Navid is the head of a firm which is I believe a Filipino in so-called California, and works with a firm which is fighting for both working class, indigenous, and women's struggles. And Jolene was saying, and Ilima Long is a Hawaiian also educator and leftist, talking about where indigenous and working class struggles under Marxist-Leninism, etc., come together. Because that's a very important thing that they're discussing. Is indigenous people are either seen as those people on the reservation over there that we need to help, but they're not seen as part of the working class. But anyway, but to the point, but Jolene was saying that women who do the nursing jobs, who do the caretaking jobs, who make sure that the places are clean and make sure that the actual children are cared for while everyone else goes to work. If all the women went on strike, which she has led many. She and the organization she works with have led many strikes to gain lots of benefits, not just for their own increases in wealth, but to give like food gardens in schools in Los Angeles, to benefit social struggles, and lots of other purposes. Not if you're only striking for you and your buddy's wages, that's just like you're looking out for number one. That's not really leftism, I would argue. And so, you know, and that's amazing. And she brings up this important point in this panel that if all of the women, the nurses, the caretakers, right, the service industry employees, the places that watch kids while everyone else goes to work, if they all simultaneously want to strike, it grinds all of society to a halt, which they have done, and gives them huge power, which says that is important work. But it's just work that has never called its power, called and its women have not actually flexed. Speaking of super strong green female superheroes like She-Hulk, women have not flexed their actual working class power, right? Yet. So what I'm saying is, you should flex all over them fucking shitty dudes. Shut the motherfucking United States down. Everybody don't. I mean, I'm not saying, dude, like, don't stop going to work right now. I'm saying, use that collective power of service industry, care work, child care work, all the other work that is lesser work. If dudes are gonna keep saying that your work isn't any work, well, show them how important that work is by not giving them any, and also not giving them any sex, which is work. When you're putting up with a big dick idiot who doesn't know how to use his dick and hurts more and is done in 5 minutes and causes, it's like 5 minutes of burning and torture. Don't compliment that. Break up with that shit. Don't give him any sex. Yeah, your dick's too big. Well, I guess we're not going to do it, and you're going to figure out other ways to get me off, or that's it. Because don't give, it's like, why do you put up with fucking torture and pain? That does not fair in any sense of, in any world. Does it make any sense? It's like, no, your dick can go into a sock or a rubber fucking hose or something else because it fucking hurts, Mr. Big Dick. No, you're not good at sex. You are worse at sex than smaller dick people than you. And also, all dudes out there, you should know that, because then, then maybe dudes would stop wasting thousands of their dollars buying pills that don't do shit, and the actual dick increasement procedures and surgeries don't help. They actually only enable patriarchy and the suffering of women. So tell all the dudes exactly what the fuck is up, and then break up with them if they don't change. Period. You will actually be doing the entire planet a favor. You are doing God's work. You are doing our God, Vin Diesel's work. I'm doing God's work, is what the CEO of Goldman Sachs said shortly before the bankster caused global financial crisis happened. Lloyd Blankman. Anyways, but also, there will not be a left. There will not be the end of capitalism without the end of patriarchy. I believe that. And you are accelerating. You're actually doing that important work by tearing that bullshit down. That has to be torn down, with the racism, with the colonialism, with the ableism, with the anti-indigeneity, and the settler colonial genocidal United States. You are tearing down a very important pillar, because it's approximately half of all of the people in the countries that need the actual, real change. Half of them are these dudes. So anyway, I'm just, but I can't tell you what to do. I think that's what should, I think that's something that should happen. Don't let me tell you how to deal with dudes. Especially if you're with a dude who's like, I have a giant dick and I'm a huge guy, I'm so good, and then he's also violent and abusive, and he's kind of drunk, and you're having sex. I mean, maybe that's not the best time to say that kind of thing. But figure out how to get out of that. It is dangerous. It is dangerous. I mean, that's very important, and I went off about that and why She-Hulk is important. Episode 1 drives home that point, that women are constantly in fear and are angry and all the time, because at any moment they can be attacked, lose their job, possibly die, and get raped by men, and nothing will be done about it. Police commit more sexual harassment and rape than the average dude, and less than 1% are ever even investigated. So there will be no help for you. And most of the dudes in the Western culture don't actually give a shit, despite how they say they protect women. They don't. When it comes down to it, they don't. Maintaining patriarchy and keeping women beneath them is more important than protecting even their own, so-called protect. Women don't necessarily need it, but they're old. Why were you wearing those shoes for? Why did you go out at that time for? You deserved it. You had it coming. Why did you wear that makeup? Why did you put on red blush? Don't you know that your red lips is biologically, Darwinian, evolutionarily designed to make me horny? I'm Jordan Peterson, who most of the United States listens to, and Canada. Right? They're not there to protect you. They're there to, they say all kind of vague bullshit about that. Kind of like people go, oh, vaguely they know that, societies are built. Oh, vaguely maybe there's some people that died in a war somewhere in the global south or in the Middle East, but they don't give no shit. So you have to make them give a shit. You have to just like flex your actual power and don't do any work of any kind until they give you equality, period. I mean, ideally, it should be more like it should. I mean, I don't recommend you say that, but it should really be like it's kind of repatriation. There's a lot of unpatriated patriarchal wealth that has to be gone the other way, but it's not. It's like but even asking for like, you know, women doing 1/3, dudes doing 1/3 and women doing 2/3. That's too much, right? So don't ask. Just take it. Just take it. Just fuck. I'm saying don't fuck those guys. I was gonna say fuck those guys. Don't fuck those guys. Don't fuck. Screw those guys over. No. Give don't fuck those guys. Don't fuck those guys. Fuck those guys. Don't. Okay. Anyways, I don't know if you understand what I was trying to say there, but let's go to this thread though, because I want to get to this. It's already 12:45. So women are demanding a lot more from men during sex these days. What happened? Do I need more cardio, more therapy, more eyeliner? You know, the eyeliner really, I think eyeliner really brings out the Tim Pool in your eyes. Take the hat off and then put the eyeliner on. But you know, my thing is, you know, laughing my ass off, all of the above, and get better at sex, dude. Get the therapy. Don't ask women to give you the free therapy. Get your own fucking therapy. Or just stop being terrible, right? I mean, you know, you don't like your body type. You know, people have different, you know, whatever. But I mean, you know, don't let your health fall into the gutter. I mean, that doesn't help anybody. Maybe think about putting on some eyeliner. Stop being weird about people presenting in ways that are super gender binary toxic. You don't have to wear eyeliner. The way that somebody said, is this guy like literally while he's getting into bed, is he like putting like, you should put the eyeliner on before you go to the Applebee's, or, you know, before you go on the date in a socially distanced COVID bubble sort of way. Like, maybe put the eyeliner on before the date. Are you putting the eyeliner on right before you get in bed? That's kind of a weird time to put it on. You know what I'm saying? You know, don't be doing the cat eye when you're trying to put the condom on. I mean, number one, you might accidentally like puncture a hole in the condom with the tip of the applicator. You know, it's a little, I don't know about that. But number two, I don't know, just it's a weird phrasing. Getting mad, but you know, anyways, in more seriousness. So, you know, also I'm not trying to make fun of this dude necessarily. It's just like this is a weird, again. What is up? It's at least a femme. I think it's a femme person and also a dude person co-authored this article. Weird headline, right? Women are demanding a lot more from men during sex these days. What happened? It should be more like, yay, men are expected to be equally good sex partners. That's awesome. Here's some tips, dudes. That should be the headline. Not, oh my God, it's so demanding that I have to perform during sex. Shut the fuck up. You know, that'd be like, imagine if you went to your job and said the boss was like, oh, I need you to flip burgers like within like an hour of the customers wanting the burgers. And you're like, oh my God, it's so demanding that I have to flip the burgers like before the customer leaves or the meat, you know, fucking turns putrid. Wow. So no, it's just like, you know how it is. I mean, if you don't do, I mean, I'm not saying that capless burger joints are good. I mean, working for like a cooperative burger joint. If you don't do $5 worth of service industry labor or whatever labor to get that burger out there, then you're not going to have no job. You know this. But, oh, it's so demanding that women not be tortured and have actual pleasure during sex. No. It should be like, yay, men are expected to not be terrible at sex. How awesome is that? That's what the headline should read. So, pro tip for, puff piece column writers. I'll give you that one for free. See? I'm so generous. Look at all this free labor I'm doing. Anyways, getting mad at She-Hulk, claiming that Prey movie is illogical. And binging Jordan Peterson will surely solve your problems, dudes. No, not really, obviously. Half the population finding out that they can't pull Meagan Thee Stallion or any other women just by existing as a self-centered prick. That's actually a line in this episode. A lot of men hate this scene because, like Dennis, they're entitled, delusional, and feel personally called out by She-Hulk. Because they are also entitled and delusional, like that dude character in this show. Equality feels like oppression to those accustomed to privilege. Let's just play this real quick.
Think that Dennis Bukowski would believe that he could actually pull Meagan Thee Stallion.
Yes. Dennis Bukowski is an almost pathologically entitled man. He would absolutely believe that he's dating the real Meagan Thee Stallion because he is truly that delusional.
No further questions, Your Honor. Think that Dennis
So,
Bukowski would
and on top of the twerking, a lot of dudes didn't like that scene and like the whole back and forth. There's a guy who thinks that he's dating Meagan Thee Stallion, where's Thor from? Asgardian trickster elf who can transform into anything, anyone, transforms into a Meagan Thee Stallion appearance, dates a dude in the show and gets him to buy her $175,000 worth of cars and expensive lunches and bling and houses or whatever, And so he spends like $175,000. This dude is not poor, obviously, at that point. Right? That's more than the average American makes in a year, and he spent it on a few dates. So anyway, this guy is a privileged white dude. Let's just leave it. Let's start there. The dude is tricked into by the trickster, who isn't really Meagan Thee Stallion, so now he's suing the trickster for that, and that's a lot of the Ally McBeal lawyering, Law and Order back and forth stuff. But the thing that is and so that She-Hulk there is going, this dude, even with his wealth, this guy is not all that. He is not great dating material. He is but he is deluded. He is pathologically entitled. I mean, that's just normal dudes in the West, right? At least, and much of the rest of the world, but definitely in the United States, and in Europe, he is pathologically entitled. That just describes most men. And then he is delusional. Also describes most men. You are not fucking. You're not Don Juan. You're deluded into, like I already said, you're deluded into thinking that you are God's gift to women. You're a terrible listener. You're bad at sex, and your bigger dick doesn't help. All those things are delusional. So this describes 90 to 99% of men, period. But that's just facts. I'm sorry. That's facts. And I'm saying that as like a dude socialized person. It's fact. I know this. Like, I actually was delusional about a lot of these things, like until like even a year or 2 years ago. It's just real. But that's what's very upsetting, is just saying it's kind of like the Silver Spook stream. Also, thanks a lot, Big Teal. I'm glad that you find this stream worth watching. I just glanced over there. Thanks again, Holly, for modding. Again, you see, that's very easy. Holly does very large amounts of labor and work dealing with shitty chuds and gatekeeping and stopping people from like being horrible in my streams and moderating and stuff, and also doing care work and all kind of other service work, making food and all this kind of stuff. And it's not that hard. You just got to go like, thank you for all that work, and I will put in at least try to put in at least as much as I can absolutely manage, not take advantage of it, sit around and get my fucking feet rubbed. But anyways, thanks a lot, Big Deal. But She-Hulk is when She-Hulk says
Bukowski is an almost pathologically entitled man. He would absolutely believe that he's dating the real Meagan Thee Stallion because he is truly that delusional.
They think that they are worth Meagan Thee Stallion or any woman they're dating. You are not. You are absolutely not. There's a 95 to 99% chance you are not worth Meagan Thee Stallion or whoever you are currently dating or married to. Period. The end. And that doesn't mean you can't get better and get more skilled, and that will take work, but you're too lazy to do the work, probably. And that's the hard truth, that the dudes, that's really what, because some dudes will go, oh, I don't have the ability. I was just born with a small dick. I don't have the great gifts of rock star power. I don't like Napoleon Dynamite does say women only want girls, girls only want guys with good skills, and it's like, well, yeah, one of the skills is listening and, actually hearing, and that's one of the skills. Another skill is like, I don't know, a job that provides some kind of economic and helps pay half of the rent or something. That's another skill. But it's like, But those are not just like gifted from heaven. That's stuff that you have to get better at. You know, you suck at sex. 90 to 99% of men are absolutely horrible at sex with women at this moment. Right? That's just basic. I mean, you know, it's kind of like the U.S. is a giant superpower capitalist imperial shitscape that's destroying this earth. Welcome to reality. I'm sorry, watching more Captain America and Avengers is not going to change that. You suck at sex, dudes. That doesn't mean you will suck forever. Because some dudes like, oh, I'm just never going to be good. Oh, I just have to get like a woman who will put up with how bad I am and, you know, I'm just terrible. No, that's crybaby bullshit. I mean, you can go be a crybaby alone and die alone or whatever, but don't cry in other people's faces. Go be lonely and, you know, just wither away there. But, you know, but women should not be expected to put up with your lack of gumption and initiative and care about other people and their sexual needs or their financial needs or their romantic relationship needs. They should not be expected to put up with your failure to get skills like the skill of having sex and dating and having gainful employment. You know? That's also self-delusional bullshit. That's the incel tendency. You have like the Tucker Carlson, Jordan Petersonian, like crypto bro, I want to exploit harder tendency. And you have the incel, oh, I'm all fucked and get mad at women tendency. Both of those, you know, it's like the angry boy and the angry man child and sad man child. A little bit of both, often. Both of those are not going to lead to the end of capitalism, imperialism, racism, making a better world, end of climactic annihilation, and you know, anything good, right? So you got to get over that. I can't get better at sex. So I don't want to. I'm not gonna put anyone on the spot, but some people are like, we have to feel bad for that dude. He can't get better at sex. I can't get better at sex. My bro, it's a skill like playing a piano. You're only used to belly flopping on the keys and the audience giving you standing ovations, who are giving them out of fear. Like they could die if you're drunk and you are a violent man and the woman is having sex with you. She could die, right? The audience has been giving you standing ovations for being a terrible, cacophonous, talentless concert piano player. And that means that you didn't need to get better. Now you're being asked to hit some actual fucking notes. And I do mean that fucking notes. Like hit maybe a G-spot or maybe a clit or sometime. I don't know. Well, you know, you look it up. I'm not going to tell you how. And different bodies are different. That's a whole thing. It's not a mystery and it's not super complicated. But, you know, maybe being able to communicate with your partner and build enough actual trust by not being a shitty toxic person so you can talk about what your partner actually wants during sex is one of the skills to learn how to play an actual fucking C and a G chord. Like, you don't have to be a concert pianist at sex. You don't need to be fucking, you know, Pavarotti or you don't have to be Mozart and Beethoven at sex, right? You don't need to be like the greatest virtuoso, world-class, you know, sex doer. You just have to be like barely passable. But right now you're just like, the bar is under the ground, like somebody said, and you are like 25,000 feet under that bar. So you just gotta like get just like 2 inches above that little fucking low bar. It's actually not that hard. I'm not gonna tell you what it is because it might be a TOS violation. I don't want to get the stream taken down. People think like Silver Spook is doing porn streams now. That's not what's happening. But you know, you can do your own research. That's another thing. Asking people to do research for you is free labor that dudes expect from non-dudes. So also that one. You know, Google exists, DuckDuckGo exists, other people exist, like the capacity to find information exists. I know it's hard in the Western diseducated world, but I've done many streams about other potential sources, and Holly's got lots of links, over 1,000 in fact. So you can shut the fuck up. Anyways, now you're going to be asked to hit some, but you have to actually play. Like, just think about that, right? Think about that, right? You are a concert pianist, right? You are a dancer, right? You are a twerker. I mean, I don't know. You whatever you are. You're a sculptor. You're a balloon maker. You know, you're a you're a mechanic. You're a janitor, right? If you're a janitor and the way that you sweep the floor is you brush 2 pieces of garbage and leave 99% of the floor full of garbage,
You don't deserve applause. You don't deserve the pay for. I mean, that janitor work is work. Cleaning work is work. But if you're not doing your job, you're not gonna get paid. If you are a mechanic and you look at the car, you take a hammer and you bang on the car 3 times. You take a wrench and you move it in the air a few times like a fucking cartoon of Donald Duck fixing a car. And then you say that the car's fixed, but you haven't actually done anything to the car or made it worse by smashing a window. You as that mechanic have no skills in repairing cars, do not deserve the payment of $200 of mechanic labor for doing nothing, right? It just makes sense. If you are as bad at sex as that mechanic who hits the window 2 times and breaks it and says, okay, your car's fixed. Yeah, in Acme world, okay. In a cartoon bullshit world where nothing's logical, like Marvel action movies and Predator universe, okay. You can hit the window 2 times and then someone will give you some fucking money because nothing makes sense. It's a movie, right? But in the real world, where you actually have to be competent at repairing Honda Civics, Honda Accords, Nissan Sentras that are broken, Volkswagens, you have to be able to change a carburetor. You have to know you have to not fuck that car up more. Right? We actually took our car to a mechanic and we paid the mechanic. There's an actual label that says, on the wall, it says, diagnostics are not free. Skilled labor ain't cheap and cheap labor ain't skilled. Pay me what I am worth. I'm not going to look at your car and do an hour of labor for free because you just want to talk and try to get some free labor out of me, right? And a lot of dudes are mechanics, and the ones that actually are professional and skilled at it, and they can fix the car without breaking it and don't just dick around with it forever and then leave it not much better than before or sometimes worse and waste money buying parts that they don't need to install because they think that they know what they're doing, but they're self-deluded because they're dudes into believing that they're expert mechanics when they're just some amateur dude who has like watched a couple of videos, saw somebody else fix a car a few times, and they think they know what the fuck they're doing, right? And so those people, that's why they're not professional mechanics. Because if the rubber hit the road, nobody would pay them, and everybody knows that that's how it is. But dudes are allowed to be self-deluded that they're fucking genius, Grand Prix. They're allowed to think that they're like Vin Diesel in Fast 9 as a kid fixing professional, racers, cars for a living, but they're not. They're just deluded, and they're actually not that good at it. And then, but then they have this. But that's part of the machismo, and that's part of white male patriarchal capitalist culture in the United States, tied to the Fordist car, the white male patriarchal car culture that's about removing mass transportation to stop communism and give billions of dollars to needless giant pieces of armor that guzzle gas and kill millions of people per year, which is what cars are. That's what that's about. But nobody wants to talk about that. Anyway. But the point is, if you are not skilled at a thing, people are not going to compensate you equally for the thing that you're not skilled at, right? And that doesn't mean that you're terrible. That means you can get better, right? It's not a guarantee, but it does take work. It does take practice. It does take like listening to people who know what the fuck they're doing, right? Like listening to women in the case of sex with women. But that's not that one, listening to people who know what they're doing, right? Which is usually women. That's not a skill. That itself is its own problem. That I don't know how to get past that one. That's why I'm doing this stream, because a lot of dudes won't listen to women. But if I, who present like a dude, not all the time, I who am dude presenting, mask presenting, say it, some dudes will hear that and maybe think about it at least, maybe change, maybe not. But so that's so. And I also recommend any other dudes who understand what I'm saying. You don't have to publicly tell the other dudes on a YouTube stream, but you might want to, consider spreading the good news and also the news that you're going to be single and alone, and you're going to lose you're not going to be able to take advantage of people anymore. Whether that's, like in an equal world, you're not going to be able to take advantage of other people. Right. But that's races are equal. The rich and the poor. I mean, that's the problem. White dudes think, oh, I'm gonna have lots of money and Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk won't have all the money. I'll have half their money or something, right? No, it's like you will have to yeah, they won't have everything they have, but you are also gonna have to put in as much as all the women around you're putting in. But that's what they don't want to think about. That's why they're screaming at all the women. So that's the one. So dudes, if you can't tell your other dudes this news that, hey, guess what, dudes? Guess what? We can't all join Peter Coffin, Caleb Maupin, Tucker Carlson, Tim Pool, Jordan Peterson, and all of Gamergate and the Fandom Menace and attack women. That's not gonna work because they're gonna general strike, and we're never gonna get fucked, and all our shit's gonna fall apart. Like our house and everything's not going to be clean, and all our restaurants and everything, because they actually do all like shit tons of all the work that's actually necessary. So we better figure this out. You know, that's the conversation that dudes should be having is how do we get other dudes to figure out how to not be shitty, lame, useless people. I don't hear that one happening too much though. So anyway, So, just think of it that way, right? Like, you know, you're logical, right? You're logical, like this guy, right? You're Captain Logic, like Jed, the Hollywood scholar from geeksandgamers.com, right? You're a genius brain, right? You have a Galaxy Brain S9, right? You understand logic, right? Facts and logic, right? But again, sex is a skill like playing a piano. If you're used to belly flopping the keys and the audience is giving you standing ovations, you didn't need to get better. So the audience should so women stop giving dudes standing ovations for sex. I'm don't like necessarily like you don't have to like make fun of them or like attack them. But it's like that. What you're doing is not that good actually. Like this would be better, and that's basic logic, right? Why? How is it logical that women should put up with your rhythmless slamming? What was that song? The dude having sex to that one song, but the song is like do 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 do, and it's like if you fuck like that, like how the fuck? Number one, how do you fuck on that weird asynchronous beat? That's just confusing as fuck. Like if you're fucking this dude, right? The man disappointed that the song he plays during sex does not arouse girlfriend. But dude, if you're like do 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 do, that's just fucking annoying, man. You're like, like even if I was hitting that, I'll be like, what the fuck? No, this is like confusing. I like as a musician, I'm like, you can't even hit the syncopated rhythm you're trying to hit. And number two, that's like, what is that? Dude heard some weird advice somewhere. I don't know if it was on Reddit or somewhere because he was asking questions on Reddit. I think that's where it happened. But bad advice, like don't. Anyways. Okay, but what's interesting is that like this person had a partner for 2 years and let him fuck like he's like drunken Woody Woodpecker, right? Like and she put up with it. Like don't give your rhythmless dick pianist, don't give your penis pianist any more applause. Say, dude, that was a really bad concert. That felt like shit. Stop playing that weird ass song. What we're fucking, dude. What the fuck? Like, maybe like don't wait 2 years. Don't wait but the fact that a woman felt like she had to wait 2 years to bring that up speaks the volume. That's the takeaway. Right? Part of it is like you're expected to put up with dudes' bullshit. You're expected that sex is going to be unenjoyable. Sex is you do it from Mother Britain or Mother Germany or Mother America. Do it. Lie on your back and think of England. Right? Just pump out more fascist Greek or German babies for me, like in Jojo Rabbit, or pump out more. Leonidas' wife. Pump out more eugenically perfect white soldiers. I know Leonidas. I know Gerard Butler's. Dick fucking is as offbeat as fucking sex abuser Johnny Depp waltzing badly in Pirates of the Caribbean. I know that Leonidas sucks at fucking and he finishes in 40 seconds. But just think of all of the beautiful, perfect white Aryan Greek babies you're gonna pump out for the motherland, for the fatherland. I'm sorry, because women. Anyways, no, don't put up with that shit. Don't put up with that. Don't put up with that shit. But the fact, not, women have been expected to put up with that shit, and I will say like women, have been expected to put up with me not knowing sometimes what I was doing. But the solution is not like keep not knowing what you're doing and continue to have bad sex. One party, like the thing is, dudes, they're doing what they want to do, right? They're doing what they want to do, which is not that much, and not very. It does take very long, right? It's not everybody, but it's a thing. It's a thing. So don't let one party get whatever they want and you get nothing. I mean, again, that's not equity. Like if it's Silver Spoon, again, that's why we try to run Silver Spoon Cooperative. Like if I did whatever I want, if I had employees, right? That's why I don't have employees. I'm gonna come to that one very soon. If I had said, hey, because you know why? Because I've been treated like shit in game companies and all kind of companies and ghostwriting for rich white men. They're science fiction, right? I don't want people that are going to be working for me going, oh, just pump out 25, 200 hours more of art assets, and I'll give you, $3 an hour when you count all of the, I don't want to, it's not equitable economically. So business relationships, right, under a cooperative business, because people still need to work to produce everything that we need. So cooperative business, or, government nationalized industries where everybody's paid to do the important labor of maintaining the roads and the electrical grid and energy, etc. Right? But if somebody is going, I want to give you, right? I'm Elon Musk. I'm going to give you Bolivians 2 cents and I'll take $25 million worth of lithium, right? Privatizing the natural resources. That's not an equitable exchange. Similarly, if dude is like, well, I shot my load all over the place in 40 seconds, and the woman's like, well, I felt bad actually, didn't feel very good, kind of hurt. This song was terrible. Stop playing this song. One party is getting ripped. One party's getting ripped off, and the other party is getting everything they want. That's not an equitable sexual relationship. I mean, right? Logic, right? Captain Logic, or does the logic go out the window? That's what it is. Logic goes out the window when it comes to women, and it's not because women are mysterious and they broke your brain. No, you're just a selfish, greedy piece of shit. That's why. So. Break up with all your shitty dudes. Do that immediately. So, because some people are like, oh, he just can't get better. He can't get better at sex. You should feel bad for him. No, don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for him. It's not. There's a movie called What Women Want by Mel Gibson, right? But the problem with that movie, it's like, oh, it's a progressive feminist movie. Well, Mel Gibson gets in touch with this feminist. But the thing that movie, the wrong thing about, well, number one, Mel Gibson is a horrible piece of shit, and anti-Semitic and racist and wealthy white shithead. It's too bad he was in one of my favorite post-apocalyptic shows, Mad Max. But anyways, What Women Want is a show where in order for dudes to understand what women want, they have to be literal mind readers and be inside of women's heads, literally. And that, well, women are just from Mars. Women are from another planet. I can't understand. No, you are a thick-headed, patriarchy benefiting, bad listener. Period. So that's what I want to say about that. So you got to get past this thing that like, oh, I can't know. Women are a mystery. No, you're just bad. No, women are afraid, and a lot of women. I mean, again, I'm saying like, so part of the women like have been expected to just let dudes do wrong, bad things and let them get away with it, right? So yeah, women should not let that keep happening. It's actually not, and I can't speak for all women because I'm not one, and I can't speak for everyone, but like, rocket science is more complicated than, the mechanics of, like, I would say most sex. I mean, there's some complicated, ropes and pulleys and various difficult Byzantine knots that people tie during certain types of sex, but it's not super complex. But hint, from the most of the time, is not getting a horse-sized dick doesn't help, actually. You think it helps because porn designed by men to give young boys a bullshit toxic masculine idea of, oh, having a giant dick and making women scream is good. That is why. But that's actually not fun for they're actors, right? Like Patrick Stewart, that's acting, right? Porn stars are acting, portraying a bullshit, like women's bodies don't naturally have like giant boobs the size of basketballs with tiny little thin waists. That's unnatural Western patriarchal capitalist culture to sell more diet pills and $30,000 breast implants. Okay, so you got to get that one out of your head that that's normal. Jordan Peterson's like, oh, I like giant inflated boobs and tiny waisted unrealistic bodies because he doesn't know why. It's because he watched a lot of porn on Pornhub and he's all fucked up in the head. And he's still coming out down from a lot of drugs. So so that's not realistic. So just 90, it's like dudes think that is what's good, is like having a giant dick and then making women scream. A lot of times there's a lot of pain happening and women are in the porn industry are like hiding the pain because the porn director is a fucked up patriarchal white dude who's trying to sell whatever he's selling, and penis industry is selling penis pills and penis surgeries and all of this stuff, like women's penis, expensive $10,000 penis surgery and $10,000 boob surgeries are a capitalist body distortion, fucked up toxic industry to make people spend a lot of money contorting and distorting their bodies with money that was stolen from other working class people, because they're usually wealthier, better to do people, to put on fucked up, distorted body images of themselves and sex images of themselves. The penis enlargement is for you to think that you are some kind of fucking stud horse dude, Atlas, Don Juan, when you're not. And it's not actually for her, actually. I mean, unless she says something, but you can get a fucking toy or something fucking else, right? But generally speaking, that's what's been going on there, and that's part of why. But nobody addresses that. It just keeps on going, and so nobody figures out, hey, 50% of the entire population is bad at fucking sex, and it's terrible, and let's just keep being bad at sex and being terrible. Kind of like fucked up, distorted body images have gone on for a long time, or black hair is bad and unprofessional. That's not true. That's just racist white arbitrary bullshit. Just like having my giant dick is good. No, that's just capitalist, dick pill salesman bullshit. That's why the penis enlarger is chasing you. The penis meteor, Mr. Connery, is chasing you through your junk mail folder for the last 30 years because it makes money for rich white dudes who own the penis enlargement corporations. Hello. It's a skill. You have to get better at it. But again, drinking water and staying hydrated, getting healthy by not spending a lot of money on fancy pills and being on yo-yo diets doesn't make a lot of money, so it's not propagated through the society, right? Because it doesn't make money. People riding low carbon emission public transportation, right? Like Hawaii had before the U.S. occupation, like China and Vietnam have, and pushing away from over consuming unnecessary but capitalist beneficial car culture. That's not good, but that's what has been pushed, right? Along with the penis enlargement, along with the toxic women's body image in magazines. It's all to make money to the detriment of society by mass diseducating and disinforming people and enculturating them into unnatural, wrong, bad stuff, and then calling that natural, right? The natural pecking order is to have tiny little slim certain subsections of Europe style bodies, straight blonde hair, blue eyes, and a BMI, which is a bogus measurement of 80 or whatever it is, right? But that is all created for white supremacy, for capitalism, and for patriarchy. So you got to learn the truth, which is that you have to work and twerk. I mean, you don't have to twerk, but they're twerking, and you have to deal with that. And anyway, so but back to finally, it's okay. It's already 1:18. So last little bit though. I can't get better at sex, bro. It's a skill. It's like playing a piano. You're used to belly flopping. I already said that one. But I wanted to expand on that a little bit. So you know what it is. Getting better at skills like sex is work, and lots of dudes, especially cis-hetero white dudes, don't like doing actual work. I told you this. They like paying me to make them look like they're good at writing books or making games or doing other things, right? Or women, or paying anyone, especially women. Most editors are women in publishing companies and in the completion of books, and lead researchers and stuff like that. Netflix writers, Hollywood, story managers, and the people who fill up all the logic holes are actually usually women, because the dudes are too busy looking at their belly button, thinking about how big the biceps of the Hulk and Captain America are. They're not really that good at actual writing. It's women doing that stuff. So that's a skill, is to be a good writer, to be a good mechanic, to be a good coffee maker or cook or janitor, or things take some time to get better at them. I mean, even cleaning. If you want to really clean in an efficient way, it can take some time to figure out the best way to do things, right? Or better ways to do things. Getting better at skills like sex is another skill. That's a problem. But think about it, right? Oh, I'm not good at I won't get dated. I know, I'll buy some more whitening toothpaste that costs 20 times as much. I'll buy another penis enlarger pill. I'll buy this ridiculous Jordan Peterson book that says pet your skateboarders and say hello to cats on the street. And what women want, the chaos dragons have to be defeated. Oh, I'll spend $70 trying to... What are you doing? You're buying stuff, giving money to capitalists to tell you basic things that don't cost that much money but take work to get to. Right? That's why you take your Ultra Slim Fast. You don't have to change your eating habits and exercise. Just drink this little shake that costs 3 times as much as normal human food. Right? Just get this expensive implant. Just put this new hairstyle on. That's going to fix all your problems. Right? I'm not saying that you can do your hairstyle, but lots of stuff is propagated into the culture that will cost money to do things that are often free but take work, because it benefits capitalists and oligarchies that own the companies that you are spending the money at. That's basically all of the United States and the West for the last 70, 80 years. So literally there's plans about how to get masses of people to buy and consume more when they don't need it. That's the whole point of the marketing of the last, right, from the Mad Men on, right, that whole period. And also global CIA propaganda. In a certain degree, they've always been good at mass disinformation and mass marketing and mass lying. But particularly when people had more incomes and needed to sell more cars, more shirts, that's what fashion is. It's like, get people who don't need another shirt to buy 25 more shirts that they don't need, right? You won't be able to have sex unless you get this hot new polka dot shirt. Oh, now it's polka squares. Oh, now you got to get this new shoes or you won't get fucked. Anyways, the point of that was it benefits capitalism and does benefit patriarchy. But the reality is, sex, like many of those other things, is a skill. And lots of dudes, especially cis-hetero white dudes, don't like doing actual work. So, okay then, stay horny and lonely. And that's a hard period there also, the end. But next topic, slightly OT, but in my time as a game dev, it's those same dudes that think they're rock stars and or just want to own the game company, or slack off while the non-men and people of color put in all the actual work. Coding and doing the art and managing, etc. It's a big part of why I'm often working solo on my games. Like obviously I make games like Neofeud, etc. I'm gonna put the Neofeud behind me since I'm just talking generally about this thread. And part of making games is also making people be able to see them, which takes time and energy. So don't forget, if you like everything I'm saying, Neofeud is a game that's about destructive systems like capitalism, colonial patriarchy, ableism, etc. And dismantling them in a cyberpunk adventure game that is, I try to be about as, sometimes it's more funny in the game than it is on these streams. Today I'm trying to be more humorous because it's this. I know this topic is it's not the one that's the easiest for people to talk about in the prudish, puritanical Western world. But anyways, when it comes to the game stuff, right? In my time as a game developer, right, working on Neofeud, but before that I worked on for like 10, 20 years. I've been working on games. I've been working on games for like 20 plus years, but professionally in games, I've been working for over 10, 15, 20 years. In my time as a game dev, it's, people that think, oh, yeah, man, I got these great ideas. What if you put a ninja and a zombie in your game and you're like, what if they're like fighting in space? I'm like, yeah, good idea. That's not actual work, though. That's just you getting drunk and stoned at the same time and running your mouth. And that's not... The work takes time, takes energy, takes effort. You have to learn how to do it. A lot of it's like, oh, I'm the best artist. Oh yeah, man, I'm just like an amazing writer. I just come with the best ideas. Like, yeah, who told you that? Oh, all my buddies. Oh, were those the same buddies in the locker room or in the tabletop RPG get together that all think that having a giant dick is what you need in sex? That are all wrong? Are those the dudes that said you're such a great game maker? Playing a lot of games doesn't necessarily make you good at making games. It's actually, it can take a lot more time. take a lot more energy. It's a lot of parts of it are very grueling to make video games. It's complicated, bugs, coding, art assets that don't come in properly, figuring out like game loop cycles, getting people interested in. I mean, marketing this stuff. This is like stuff that people. This is not like but like every day, right? Part of why I work solo on my games is every day I actually get like multiple emails and DMs each day. I'm on a variety of platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and email. I get all these messages mostly from dudes asking or even sometimes demanding, like, you have to let me into Silver Spook Games because I have the best idea. You like let's do this, and like we're gonna do such great work. I'm like, who the fuck are you? Well, you see, I am James Whiteman the third, and I was a big time crypto bro. I made a lot of money, and I can NFT your game, and we're gonna make a lot of money. I mean, I don't want to do that, dude. Well, I'm just a really great game developer. I'm a big ideas man. What do you think about like Neofeud having like Cyber Ninja this? I mean, yeah, everybody has ideas. Can you implement them? Do you have any actual art skills? Like, are you capable? Can you make me like a few loops, animation, ice cycles in like 64 by 64 pixel art with legs, arms moving in real time with alpha channels in PNG format? And can you do that in like 4 hours or less? Can you do that? Yeah, that's why I'm not working with you, because like a mechanic who smashes the window and calls that skilled labor, you are not skilled at the labor you would like to do with me. Also, where the fuck were you when I messaged you and I said I need that asset at this time because the game's coming out? And you're like, oh, I was sad that day and I couldn't work because I just felt really sad, and then I had to go and like get mad on Reddit and be abusive to the women in my life. Okay, well, that's why I'm not working with you. That's why you're not a game developer with me. You would make a really good boss or a CEO of a game company somewhere, right? Taking credit for other people's labor and doing nothing like a capitalist white man boss. But I'm not working with you because I only work with people who are in equal professional relationships with me, right? Who give me what I give back. Now the voice actors, I'm like, they're not doing like 90%. I don't need them to do as much work as I'm, because you need to do this, and I'm going to give you what you put into it. Everybody who works on like the Neofeud is like still getting, like, some people put like 7,000. They did like 7,000 lines. It's a lot. So I tallied like how much labor was that altogether. I didn't even say like my labor is more skilled because it's programming. I just said like that's voice acting labor. You put in this amount of hours. So every year or so, basically, like based on how much the Neofeud makes, they are paid out a percentage of that in perpetuity because they put in the labor that they put in, and it was like labor that was skilled. Right? Now, if somebody said, oh, I want to voice act in Neofeud, lots of people said, I want to voice act in Neofeud too. I want to make music in Neofeud too. Oh, I'm the best voice actor. Okay, where's your demo reel? What can you do? Oh, I'm just very enthusiastic. Okay. No, I'm not going to work with somebody who hasn't got a proven track record of being reliable and is going to do and work at a level that I am working at. And so, or that, that is fair. So, and also I can't rely on, so I'm not working with you. Right? And so same thing for romantic relationships. Oh, what are your qualifications, dude, across from me at the Chili's? Well, I'm really sad and I haven't got a lot of exercise and I'm in between jobs. Oh, for how long? Oh, the last 2 years or 3. Okay, yeah, bye. We're not in a relationship because you don't sound like you're somebody that's going to be meeting me halfway. Again, that's not equitable. Okay, and if the woman's like, well, I'm working full time. I am have these goals. I have this club that I'm in. I make games on the side. I'm playing music here. I'm doing these things. I'm producing this show. I'm doing this. I'm making this podcast. I'm juggling all these things. What are you doing? I'm being sad that I don't have a girlfriend and crying to myself all day. Okay, well, no. Oh, yeah, I have a job at this company where I just dick off mostly, don't do very much, don't make very much money, and are not in the union, and I don't care about organizing. Okay, well, yeah, we're not dating, bye, dude. Be lonely and alone forever. It's like people have to expect equal treatment from other people in their life, you know, or there's not going to be a relationship there. A professional relationship, romantic relationship, nation to nation relationship, like U.S. to global, like U.S. to Bolivia. It's like, no, you're treating us like shit. We're going to work with China because they give us 50% deal of all of our resources and free technology transfer in exchange for producing electronics products, helping them with resources that they need. And that's a fair relationship. We're not working with you, US, Europe, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, because you are fucking assholes who take all of our stuff and you give back nothing. So, bye. Have fun being alone, falling apart with no bridges, no electricity, no nothing, and running out of food. So, I mean, you know, and so, I hope that people get better in the US and Europe and not starve and freeze and all that kind of shit. But part of getting better means internally people going, we all have to treat each other as equals in these dating relationships, romantic relationships, non-dating relationships, friendship relationships, in these professional relationships, or collectively as a United States, Canada, Europe, etc., France. You're not going to get better, and then the rest of the world is going to go, well, we're not going to date a France that's full of assholes and Macrons. Right? Like Venezuela, like, we're not going to date a bunch of Americans that we're not going to give you the resources you want if you're going to treat us like shit. No, fuck you. And then America's like, oh no, we don't have anything else. Let's keep abusing the people under us. So, and the thing is, people, the masses of the non-rich millionaire, billionaire class are the ones who are taking the brunt of it right now. You shouldn't. But to not take the brunt of it, you have to get over your patriarchal ways, unionize, get off your ass, and fucking work to build the socialism and the communism that they want. You know, it's building. The Vietnamese say we have to build socialism. The Vietnamese don't say, oh, you know what's going to happen? Cubans and Vietnamese are the people that actually have universal healthcare, housing, no threat of fascism, don't have millions of COVID deaths unnecessarily, etc. The countries that have nice things, you know, mass transportation that isn't all vehicle-centered, full of patriarchal, white man, delusional, I know how to fix car culture. Do you know what all those countries that don't have all that bullshit have in common? They say we have to build socialism. Whereas the United States and the West, they say socialism is going to fall into my lap when I sit on my ass and pretend like I'm good at sex and fixing cars. Everyone's just going to, oh, go, so good. You're so sad and you're so broken. You're so oppressed by capitalism. They're just going to give it to you. No, they're not going to give shit to you. Your ruling elite are going to eat you for breakfast, rip you off further, take more of your stuff, and the men are going to keep stomping on the women as dwindling amounts of total scraps are left over, and the women should not put up with that. Especially indigenous and people of color women of color. Should not put up with that shit. Start, you know, kick those motherfuckers out of there, you know? For the good of everybody in what calls itself North America and Europe. But, you know, I do get mounds of emails every day, and, you know, sometimes I feel bad. I'm like, maybe I should respond to more of these emails. Maybe I should respond to more of these emails and these DMs. But then I'm like, you know, like, number one, I don't have fucking time in my day. I'm too busy, like, trying to educate 2 children outside of the U.S. schools. I have to help with Holly create curriculum outside of the U.S. school system, which is its own time and its own labor. Outside of the teaching, Holly and I teach. Holly does more total teaching and curriculum creation than me. So again, that's called it's called, pro tip for any dudes listening. Don't take credit for women's work. Holly does more care work and more of the school design and work than I do, period. Okay, so don't do that. Or nobody's gonna fuck you and you're not gonna have relationships. And also, it's wrong. But that is time that I have to take out of my day to make curriculum, and that is not full of lies like Hawaiians were backwards and America saved Hawaii and the U.S. is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and everything that is banned by Texas, Florida, and 40 out of 50 states of the United States, CRT, etc. So creating the curriculum takes time and energy. That's work. Teaching the children, that's work. Working on the games, that's work. I work like 8-10 hours yesterday on Neofeud 2. And then I did more work, and then I did labor. Then we got cars fixed, right? With mechanics, with the money that we made at Silver Spook Cooperative to pay the mechanics who have skills to fix the cars and not just screw around with cars, pretending like I know what I'm doing, like some idiot dude, some toxic, self-deluded, arrogant prick who thinks he knows how to fix cars but screws them up. I know that because I know lots of dudes around who think they know how to fix cars but they don't actually fix them, including some of my dad and my brother. Not bad guys, but they're just like there's toxic dude culture that's good for people who sell car parts to put in an alternator. Oh, it wasn't that. Well, I think it's the battery, new battery. Oh shit, it wasn't that. Oh, let me try that. Let me change the computer out. Let me see the computer. What's your computer? Oh, new computer circuit. Oh, it wasn't that. You just spent $2,000. The car company, capitalist car company, is making money selling you parts that you thought you needed to fix, and that you replaced because you're deluded into thinking you know what you're doing. When a mechanic knows much better than you, who's professional, who's skilled at it. But you're too stuck up and self-centered to say, I'm not as good at this thing as this other person. Take it into the fucking mechanic, get it fixed, and get it going the next day, which is what we did. And that's why we have functioning cars and transportation. And other people, they can, do whatever and not have that, just be sad. Or have broken ass cars and spend fucking $5,000. Like my brother, my dad have both, two of, not just them, like lots of other dudes I know, they spend like fucking $2,000-$3,000, a month, 2 months, 3 months trying to fix a thing, and they fix 3 different things, and then they make more problems than they solve. Cause they think they know what they're doing, cause they watched some videos, were around some other dude fixing a car, and blew a lot of money giving it to white capitalist men like Ford for all the car parts that they bought. It's a huge industry. Taking advantage of patriarchal dudes' arrogance. Huge industry. Huge. Same penis pill salesman. Same thing. So, but that took time to go take the car in, get the car fixed, bring the car back, fix up the house, fix up. We did like harvesting sweet potatoes and Okinawan sweet potatoes and Hawaiian kalo, replanting. That's like hours and time and energy and physical labor and and it's also education for the kids, and it's also food, right? And it's also decolonization of the monocrop white Ponzi scheme lawns of our front yard. So all of that is like, and that's all important stuff. I'm not like upset that we have to. Holly did making the curriculum, cooking and cleaning, and educating, putting together shows like the Kate Nix Lounge, which is a very cool variety and music show for Mischief. With Mischief and ACAB, and I'm actually helping with some parts of that show, and that's like hours and hours they put into making this very well produced Twitch streamed live show with music and playing, and like Vin Diesel flying over like neon cyberpunk cities and all kind of like pretty high, like not high budget but like high production value video packages for like at least an hour, 2-3 hours a week for 6 weeks straight. It's a lot of work. I mean, the streams that I do, I don't put as much into that. Also, I'm streaming, which is, it's some time to think about what I'm going to say and go through this stuff and put all of that out there. And the psychic damage, thinking about colonization and the genocide of my family, which I try not to do. I have to do some comedy to recover from some of that stuff. But, it's like, that's all work that's necessary and it needs to be done. And like if I was to expect Holly to put in all this work and I just go play video games all day. Playing video games is not work, by the way. That's entertainment and fun. Like I watch movies and then I watch the movies. Even reading books. I mean, just reading a book, I read books too and I don't count that as work. It's just like I'm reading a book now. I'm reading Braden Sweetgrass. And the books and the movies and the games, they do kind of inform things I do. When I play these games and I watch these, but I don't count when I watched She-Hulk 3 episodes last week, and then I watched Prey before that. I don't count that as work. That's just like I'm like having a good time, and then it also like lends itself to I'm gonna talk about it, right? But on top of that, then it's also like some people like, oh, I played like 1 million hours of video games, Silver Spook. I'm good at video game making. Here, give me a job doing programming for your game company. Let me write the story. Let me design your game for you. Let me do this and that for you. I'll be the partner in Silver Spook Games. Like, no, you're fucking not. You've played a lot of fucking games. Like, I love like Warren Spector. Somebody's Warren Spector was like what did he say? It was like Warren Spector was the creator of Deus Ex, it's like a 90s cyberpunk game that I like. Terminus, one of the games we're working on, Terminus Cyberstar, is set in the world of a similar world to Deus Ex. And Warren Spector, who is the head of Deus Ex, he says he gets lots of people who applied for jobs with him or like want to work with him on games. And he's like, what are your game qualifications, right? What qualifies you to work on these games? And he says, well, I watched a lot of movies and I play games like all day long. I watch movies and play games all day long. And he's like, okay, like what, like, do you know what the, do you know what a
UV map is? Do you know how to do 3D texture? Well, I don't know that, but like I really know what makes a game good because I spent like 12 hours a day for the last 38 years of my life playing video games all day. Okay, and he's like, get like maybe try reading a book, like try cooking, like maybe cleaning too, right? He actually said that. Try cook something, go on some dates, like maybe do a little traveling. Maybe not. This is before the pandemic. Just like see the world a little bit. Have a life, man. Have a life, because playing video games all day long and watching movies all day long, like, does not make you skilled at anything. Actually, my dude. Okay, all right, good talk. Have fun not working at Ion Storm. Okay, next. But that's an attitude that a lot of dudes have, and I know this because again, I'm in these fucking circles, right? I have a dude that was like basically had that attitude. I play Shadowrun tabletop RPGs every Sunday, and the rest of the week I'm MMO RPG playing. I'm playing Star Wars games. I'm playing all these games, man. I play so many games. Let me work out with you. I'm like, okay, let's try working. Oh, I'm just like too tired to work today. Okay, well, how about tomorrow? Oh, I'm gonna be, I'm like, I'm just, it was like this guy. He worked on Terminus Machina. I'm just, I'm not feeling it. I'm just like depressed today. You're too depressed to work on this game that you said you want to work on, right? Terminus Machina, and you say like, oh, I love your games, Silver Spook, I want to work with you. You're too depressed to work on this game, but you're not too depressed to spend all day playing Shadowrun and watching 25 movies and TV shows. So that you're too depressed to do anything that actually takes work, but you're not too depressed to jerk off to giant fake boobs and ridiculous, unhealthy sized dick men shoving their ridiculous salamis into things. You're not too tired for that, right? That's a little bit. It's actually more energy to be over there, dry humping the air, looking ridiculous to yourself with your crispy socks, right? But you weren't too tired to masturbate all day, play video games, watch movies, screw off, but you are too tired to enter computer code that actually will take some thought and energy and some actual thinking and some skill. You're too tired to enter computer codes for this game today. Is that what you're telling me? And you know what the answer is? There's no answer. There's no answer because dudes are full of their fucking self. And they can't admit that they're lazy pieces of shit. And they always excuse. My mom was mean to me. My parents, they don't give me enough pizza and Hot Pockets when I want it. My Mountain Dew wasn't red enough. I wanted the red Mountain Dew, and now I'm sad because it was red. I don't have it. I can't do it. But you have it for yourself, kind of like sex, right? You're down to have sex with a woman, hurt her, but you get off. But it's too much to ask that she also have an orgasm. Is that's what you're saying? But that's what the dudes that I work with, like, I would say the majority of the ones that I tried to work with, that's what it's been. Oh, it's so hard to work on this thing, but you have lots of energy for you, but not enough energy for things that take actual work. Okay, that's why I don't work with a lot of people. That's why I work solo. And that's why, women, you can work solo with yourself or get with some women. So yeah, but anyway, so yeah, that was kind of that one. So I get amounts of DMs per day from mostly dudes asking, even demanding to join Silver Spook Games like it's their divine birthright with I did crypto, bro, let's make dollars. I'm the ideas man, or I made a sprite one time. I made a 3D model one time. Okay, congratulations, you went to college and you got some. I also went to college, yeah, and I slept through some classes, and I feel stupid and bad about that, right? I didn't sleep. I didn't invest myself as much as I should have. And you kind of slept through your gaming classes at Full Sail, and you don't really know what you're doing. I don't care that you have a college degree in that even, although that helps, right? But you need to know what you're doing. You need to be skilled in that, because I need this to be done, and you're not doing it this way. And it's not because you don't have a gift. You're not blessed with that. You're just lazy as shit, because I wasn't blessed with the skills in game development. Because some people will be like, oh, Silver Spook, you just have a gift for making science fiction stories and video games. And I'm like, no, it's not. Because when you say that it's a gift, then it's like, I got it for free. No, you got shit for free, like all of the free rent and the free care work and all the free food and the free Hot Pockets. You got shit for free.
and I had to work for 20 plus years to be better at games, just like John Romero. John Romero wasn't born knowing how to make Doom. He made 90 plus games over thousands and tens of thousands of hours over years to become skilled enough to make Doom. If you told the mechanic, oh, you're just born able to fix cars, that's why I can't fix cars. No, right? That's not fair to the mechanic. The mechanic spent time and energy learning how to fix cars properly. Not dicking around with a bunch of toxic men standing around an engine, like debating which one of the wires should they pull. The mechanic took time and energy and wasn't given the ability to properly fix Nissan Sentras for free. The mechanic worked and learned and got better and better and better, and now they can fix that car like that, which they did. We took it in and they got it fixed. Well, they towed it and they fixed it. I was like, holy shit. Like that. And I was like, yeah, they deserve that, the $90, $100 of labor per hour, because that's what they're worth. I'll pay $100 to get my car fixed in like half an hour or an hour and get it towed, right? I will pay $100 for 1 hour or less of an actually skilled mechanic's labor, right? Rather than sit around with some unskilled, toxic dude asshole who's going to spend fucking 6 months, 2 weeks, hundreds of thousands of dollars to do a half-assed job, right? And then have a half-assed, not really fixed car, right? It is worth it for people, but that's the attitude of like, but the thing is, patriarchal, unskilled car fixing dudes are also patriarchal, unskilled dudes in the offices taking credit for other people's work too. So they're actually unskilled they don't really have any skills. They're just privileged white men or white inside men who came back from wars in World War II and they were slotted into capitalist patriarchy and were like basically giant over bloated fucking cows in suits guzzling up all the resources with richer white men above them. That's Western history for the last 100 years. So, to get skills takes work, including sex. To be good at sex, I can't tell you. To be good at sex, different bodies are different too. I can do a whole one just on sex. Different bodies, I'm not a sexologist, sex expert like Gillian Anderson in that one TV show. But different bodies are different, so it's not like, oh, if you learn this, then you're gonna know everything. But one of the things you need to learn is how to communicate and speak about things that are harder to communicate when it comes to sex. So you know okay, this is good, that's not good, what you're doing. And that also takes like women have to, women just, try to be less shitty so women can trust you, right? And don't be fucking scary and toxic and terrible so that they might trust you enough to tell you things that you need to know, right? So, but it's not rocket science, but it's like, there are parts that need to be stimulated. Just pushing a thing in and out of holes doesn't necessarily always do it. Like for some it does, for some it doesn't. For a lot it doesn't. Statistically, I think it's like over half of women don't have orgasms like with just straight penetrative sex if that's it. So yeah, you're gonna learn other things you need to do. And each body's different. Different shapes, different sizes, different things psychologically and physically. And you got to learn that stuff just like you would learn like anything else. How to, like a car or anything else. And if it's a woman, it's similar. If the woman is, oh wow, this dude is an unskilled toxic asshole who thinks he knows how to fuck like he knows how to fix cars, don't let him fix your fucking car. Don't let him work on your engine down there. He's just gonna fuck shit up, and he's gonna grind the gears. And it's like, shit, your piston is like way too big. Why did you buy that $5,000 dick surgery? Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. Kind of like that alternator seemed like a good idea until it wasn't the problem, and you wasted $300 and time and labor. Don't date that shit. Don't let him work on the engine. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I've been over that thing. I've beat it around that bush several times. No euphemisms. No double entendres intended. Similarly, game. Making games is a skill, right? It's not a gift. It's a skill. It's not a divine talent blessed from on high, right? This is not the divine right of Silver Spook. Right, granted, like that's some white Euro feudal capitalist Western barbarist, Western ahistorical Christian illusion. That's some what is it? That's some pathological entitlement delusionary bullshit to think that people are just divinely blessed with these things. No, you have to learn how to fix a car over time and work. You have to learn how to program and make games like John Romero, and whatever quality of games that I make. It took time and it took work. You have to learn how to be better at sex with time and with work. And some things you can alter, but a lot of it is not. The people who are telling you that you will get relationships by buying or changing these things are people who want to make a lot of money from you. So just generally speaking, I'm not asking you for any money for this thing. Although it is work to try to educate people too. But this stuff is, that's a very important point. To get good at things takes work. To get things that you want should take work and not take people taking them from other people, right? Whether that's the lithium of Bolivia, the sexual body, the body of a woman, or the labor of somebody who knows what they're doing, right? Whether that's the mechanic who's not going to do the reason why the mechanic had to sign was because the mechanic was like, I don't want to do free labor. The diagnosis costs us money because that's part of the skills that I have gotten in my life, and we, the mechanics, have got in our life at this professional mechanic shop. We had to acquire over time, and our time is worth money, and it does take time, and you will pay us for that time. We're not fucking doing it for free. But again, it's like, oh yeah, I mean, some dudes would be like, well, fuck that, you should just do it because you're a nice guy. Yeah, that's called capitalism. That's called exploitation, my friend. Kind of like what you do to your wife. You should just do it, honey, because there's something. But again, to get skill things takes work. You are not born with innate a few things like I didn't choose and work to get this skin color or this hair or this, there's some things that are like that, but you're not born with the skills that you have over time in your life, and huge amounts of things are based on the things you have put work in. Lots of things are not physically based, like computer programming, fixing game engines, right? Like I gotta fix bugs in Neofeud and Neofeud 2 and in Digistar and Decolors. That is like fixing a car engine. If I was a brand new game developer, it would take me fucking a long time, and I fucked that game engine up trying to fix it, and I did when I first started making games. But now it's 20 years in, I know what the fuck I'm doing because I put time and energy over the last 20 years. I didn't jack off and watch movies and play games for the last 20 years. You're a late starter, but you got to get started. Okay, stop crying. That's part of what it is. That's why Silver Spoon Games is where it is, and that's why a lot of other assholes who asked me for a job are still jacking off and drinking Mountain Dew Code Red in their mommy's basement, not being game developers. So it takes time, it takes energy to build these skills, including communication skills and romantic relationship skills, and then also the skills in being able to have sex. It's not the sex one. I don't think it's harder than fixing cars or game engines. To be 100 with you, it's not that complicated. But it takes you it takes you caring about the other people and their needs and acknowledging that they have their needs and getting past this weird fucked up Napoleon complex giant dick industry bullshit. You got to get past that stuff. Kind of like you got to get past the idea that you know how to fix cars when you don't. You could, but it would take time and energy and and listening to people who know what the fuck they're doing, and investing more time and energy, and not screwing around, right? Or if you don't, I fucking spent 20 years learning how to be actually proficient at game development. I'm not gonna fix my own fucking car. That's a lot of time and energy I have to invest. I'm not gonna waste time and energy. I'm not gonna waste, if you can pay me $20 an hour, $30 an hour, I'm not paid per hour. It's a cooperative, but it's I'm not gonna spend 8 hours watching videos to learn how to fix a car, another 8-10 hours fixing a car, fixing it wrongly. That's already $300 worth of labor. I could have paid the mechanic $90 fucking $110. So I'm gonna pay people who know what they're doing because they have put time and effort and work into becoming skilled at those things, because that, number one, respects their skill and their labor, right? That's their business, and it's more efficient for me because I don't have to waste time screwing around trying to get another skill after I mastered art or became proficient at art, music, writing, programming, and at least some voice acting, which I'm not the best at everything, but I'm good enough that it is, people like 50,000, 10,000 plus people, 20,000, 30,000 people have played the game, and it has less bugs than Cyberpunk 2077, and people enjoy the game. So So that is anyway. So and similarly for sex. And again, the sex and relationship stuff is not the hardest skill in the world. In fact, it's a good starting one. Like learn, like it's a good place to start, and it helps you think about other people, especially women, as something more than servants and objects. Kind of like Mr. Ernest Cline, writer of Ready Player One, thinks a lot of women as objects, which he wrote in this recent poem. Anyways, I have been going on for a while. It's 1:54. So that's a lot of what I wanted to say though. So yeah. So and finally, right. So to all of the Mr. Let me put my She-Hulk back up on the screen. To all of the Mr. Jordan Pooles, Jordan Petersons, the Tim Pooles, the Jordan Poole and Tim Petersons, the Elon worshippers, fandom menace, Gamergate manchildren, your sub-mediocre ass is not entitled to game jobs, to women's bodies, or anything else. And trying to re-enslave women and prop up white patriarchal capitalism will fail. And so you should put in the work or keep crying about it and die sad, horny, and lonely. So there you go. So that's my take on She-Hulk twerking, destroying man-children's feelings. So I recommend all the dudes watch She-Hulk. Like watch it. You can cry and get mad, but I really recommend you watch it. And again, like I already said, I'm not the biggest Marvel stan. There's other problems I have, but as far as like it not being as garbage as Avengers and having certain important things that the women experience in the Western world, it is important. And there's a lot of people who I think are capable of watching this show. It's a very big show. It's a Marvel huge franchise show. So I do recommend dudes watch it. And think about some of the things I'm talking about. Listen very closely to what Tatiana Mosley's character is saying in the show. This scene is a comedy scene, like the Loki and Thor scene, like smashing around, and this is a twerking. It's in the end credit scene. It's a joke, It's funny. Like all Robert Downey does in the entire Marvel show is like make jokes about the Marvel show. They're all fucking half fourth wall breaking, he's playing Galaga. I'm eating blueberries on the set, and it just went in the movie because I'm Robert Downey and I do whatever the fuck I want, right? Kind of like some other white actor dudes who are not very good at acting, but I get by because I'm a white dude. So, the show is not. You should investigate what is actually going on in She-Hulk, and also watch Prey, Reservation Dogs, and lots of other shows that are starring more women. And don't get mad that there are a percentage of shows that have women in them. Real equality would be every other show has main protagonists as women. So Marvel's not even close to that. It's not even close to that. It's just like Miss Marvel, She-Hulk. You had your Miss Marvel, you had your She-Hulk. Now that's the two in the Marvel world. And then you had what? Doctor Strange. That's a white dude. You had Doctor Strange, Moon Knight is a dude, right? Wasn't there another? Shang-Chi was recently. All right, it's an Asian dude, but it's still a dude. It's not even equal yet in terms of the protagonist. So you gotta get over this shit. Anyways, okay, that's good though. A good place to end on. So yeah, that is my story, and I'll stick to it. Okay. Yeah, I've been wanting to talk about. I wanted to talk about the game stuff for a long time because it's been a thing. Like it's always been in my mind. Like this is like, And when I released Neofeud, like there's lots of shitty, toxic, crappy ass gamer player dudes and game industry stuff. And Steam was racist and horrible, and anti SJWs. They Anyways, so that's all stuff I want to talk about for a long time. But also, don't forget, Neofeud is on sale. I'm going to play the Indigenous Star trailer. Indigenous Star is a game set in the world of Indigenous game, in the world of Neofeud too. And it is a game that supports everything that we do here at the Silver Spoon Cooperative, along with Neofeud. So I'm going to play that trailer real quick since you watched the Neofeud sale for a while. And I'll be right back to close this.
For eons, the indigenous Bedu Ora people lived in peace on their planet, in harmony with nature and each other. Hunter-gatherers sprouted into villages. Villages begot cities, yet millennia passed without war. Over time, the Bedu Ora built great civilizations while maintaining the Garden of Eden, the mother homeworld which birthed them. They blossomed up toward the stars, sailed Hokuva'a, starships, across the galactic Silk Road, trading with other peoples. Now, the unhealed descendants of Roman trauma, the Utopian Empire arrives to eradicate and plunder. The mother Aina desecrated, the relatives broken, the water of life poisoned. Kailatu, a peace officer of the cosmic tree, must heal land and people, prevent colonial erasure of native language and culture, and confront the invaders before it is too late.
The Illuminati created us. They wanted to build a god with their own hands, and instead they created us.
Just because I'm made of silicone and aluminium, I must be doing something wrong. That's machine stereotyping, that is.
That's reality, that is. Machines are second-class citizens.
Humans are sentient persons by default, ma'am. They have personhood by heredity.
There are thousands upon thousands of overqualified slum dwellers. You are my peon. Don't you get it?
This wasn't a job. It was always just an excommunication sentence.
We're pawns in a feud bigger than we can imagine. Turn the cogs of the machine before Leviathan grinds you up and swallows you and yours.
We don't get to choose our hand, comrade. Prince, peon, rich, poor, human, robot.
I invented the crux of the royal power, the secret consciousness, our existence itself, the meaning of life.
I'm the $6 billion baller. Not some troubled youth.
You are my greatest creation of all.
I had to build my own family. I hate your son. I hate your son.
I'm happy to smash all of the crowns and throw the gold shards down to the people. I will be the iconoclast queen.
But who makes you queen anyway? You? You in whose army, princess? You in whose army?
Anyway, so don't forget, Neofeud is also on sale for the next 7 days or so. Does support everything that we do here. Also, yeah, let me speak for you, sister. As Big T was saying, that oh man, watch Reservation Dogs if you haven't. Reservation Dogs season 2, episode. All the episodes are on fire, but the last episode, decolonization. Oh my god, it's like the dude's like speaking of dudes. The native dude, he's even like, let me speak for you, sister, when she starts talking, and he's like, goes on about something that's like, not anyway, it's not it. But yeah, so anyways, that is going to be it. Don't forget, Neofeud is available on Steam. Neofeud is available on Steam. It is also on itch. It does support everything that we do here at the Silver Spook Cooperative / the Silver Spook Hui, where we also Could use your help if you want to leave even a very short review. It is like Disco Elysium or like with more cyberpunk characteristics. Neofeud is like Stray in that it's cyberpunk adventure, but it's not having a cat protagonist. And so yeah, consider checking the game out and leaving a review if you can do that. One final thing just about Neofeud, since I'm talking about it right now, is another thing that came up earlier today is that somebody said cyberpunk games should have more representation of disabled people's issues as well. And so petition to disabled people, petition to let disabled people write cyberpunk. What if my arm was a gun is not an interesting question. What if I had to pay a monthly licensing fee to use my limb is. Well, the thing is, number one, you shouldn't have to petition anyone to let you do anything. You should just do it, which is what I do, right? Don't ask able people to give you permission to write a perspective from a disabled person's perspective. But anyways, the Neofeud protagonist's cybernetic arm in Neofeud is constantly malfunctioning, almost gets him fired, but he is too poor to fix it, turning the "I'm a cool dude with a machine gun ninja blade" limbs cyberpunk trope on its head. Was a hype on the priority list. So it is a game that deals with all of those intersecting issues of, the racism, the capitalism, patriarchal reality, and also the struggles of disabled people using the cybernetic limb that malfunctions as a kind of both a projection into the future with an ableist world, and also the present struggle of people who have bodies that don't work for them, and then they can't. The boss is not going to pay them enough to help them out with their problems. So anyways, that's another thing I wanted to just bring up. Also, so Neofeud can also be gotten at itch.io for Windows, Mac, and Linux. It is on sale. Also, you can also give us the maximum revenue when you get the game there, if you get it there. And also the game is on sale, and you don't have to install Steam if you don't like Steam for whatever reason. So, and we also have, speaking of like women's games, women in the games that also wear green, like She-Hulk and Predator's Prey, the main character in the most recent Predator movie. Decolonators is a game where you play a woman in an imperialized country that is kicking their butts in a retro arcade shooter style. So that is Decolonators. So you can check that out, pick it up. If you have even $3 to spare, or 90 cents. Look how cheap that is. Like 90 cents. It's like less than 1/3 the price of a Starbucks coffee. You can get your Decolonators. You can also get, of course, Indigistar, the game I just showed you earlier on itch as well. Look at that. We're like 91% of the goal. Who's going to get us over the last $27 to the $300 goal? Only $27. Like we're just right at the finish line, and that's not a reference to the earlier sex talk. Anyways, that's nothing. The game's not about that. Woman is a book by Holly Argent, my partner. It is about, speaking of women in a patriarchal culture, it is about a woman raised in right-wing evangelical Protestant Christianity. It is not a historical retelling, but a work of fiction. It is the story of the Bible from the perspective of Mary, and a critique of all of those things. And I do recommend that you check it out. And you can get it for free, or you can donate any amount of money when you pick it up to help us out here at the Silver Spook Cooperative. Also, you can check out at Silver Spook Games at octodon.social, where you can follow us. And also at Silver Spook Games at mastodon.social for the game stuff on Mastodon, a decentralized, non-capitalist, federated platform like Twitter. However, while we have access, we also have an Instagram. Maybe I'll kind of change tack, because people probably know a lot of that. So I'm just gonna. You can also follow Silver Spook Games on Instagram at Silver Spook. I'm trying to post more there, so I posted. We also have music that I posted there: Indigenous Civilization, Cyberpunk, Colonialism is Going to Hell, Neofeud. All these soundtracks can be had, and also our albums I've made. Even more work that I do. I just randomly made album this summer while doing all that other stuff. So. Consider checking that out, and but I'm trying to post more to all the social media nowadays to just keep things visible so that people can find them. There's also a Silver Spook Facebook page as well, so if you want to follow that one, you have the Facebook page. I'm trying to post like
trying to every day do one post to everyone. So yeah, and you can also follow Silver Spook Guy on Twitter and Silver Spook Games, Silver Spook Guy for like when the streams go live like this, personal takes on stuff. When people twerk, I always go live. People twerk. So if you twerk, like right now, I'm gonna go live. Like that means I went live 5 times in the last minute because that's how many people were twerking on planet Earth. So bit of an overpromise there. So I'm just gonna ignore that and go to Silver Spook Games, where you can follow at Silver Spook Games minus the Ian Silver for that's the games related stuff, like Neofeud 2, another when the games go on sale, etc. Also, you can check out, like I said, Terminus C is Terminus Cyberstar, which is the Terminus Cyberstar is a low poly cyberpunk immersive sim in the vein of 90s games like Deus Ex and System Shock. And this game is very much a game that's in the spirit of everything I'm talking about. It's actually the closest to Riddick, I would say. Like I was talking about the Riddick earlier. It's a space future where there's lots of space colonizers and the colonized trying to fight back in Call of Colonialism. You actually play a migrant from a colonized planet, not unlike Riddick. It's actually closest to that. But it's also in a cyberpunk universe. I am the lead writer and director, and there's a handful of other artists, programmers, and writers, and musicians, and AI designers, etc. working on. You see, there's another one. You see, I didn't do everything. I just wrote some. I wrote some stuff about it, and everyone else is doing everything else. I mean, basically everything you're seeing here, I didn't do any of that. That's all level designers, artists, graphic artists, 3D artists. Programmers. Aaron Victoria is the lead designer, the producer, and all the main programmer and AI designer. So all this stuff is everybody else. The only thing I did was basically the design and the writing, the main thrust and the concept of the game and the main storyline. But everything else is other people. So look out for this. Look out for Terminus Cyberstar. You can follow it at Terminus C, and you can also join a Discord, and it is also available. Aaron is also is of Black and Indigenous heritage, and is also somebody who has well, you know, it's somebody who's also a programmer and work for very large entities in the United States that you need programmers and maybe sometimes invade countries. But anyways, but it's making games that are Silver Spook style games nowadays. Anyways, Terminus C is that handle. Follow that. Also, don't forget you can follow Holly. Holly can be followed at the Tech Fairy, Mod VA, and partner Silver Spook Guy for Silver Spook Games. Holly's also the mod producer and writer for Design Attack. Again, the Lounge, formerly known as the Lullaby Lounge, a liminal digital cabaret with a season premiere at 9/13. Holly writes and produces for this show, and he's also a writer of books like the one I showed you earlier, Women, and also is a primary caregiver and school administrator, etc. here at the Silver Spook Cooperative, and of course doing always important moderating work here at the Silver Spook Cooperative as well. I am working on another game. You see, look at how much work I'm working on. 3 games at once. That's how many games I was working on like about a week ago. I finished Indigestar, so I had Indigestar, Neofeud 2, and another game. The 3rd game I'm working on, nobody can complain how the Silver Spook's not putting out enough games. I put out like freaking 2 games in the last 8 months. And I'm going to put out a 3rd. The next game I'm working on right now is a retro shooter involving a pigeon with a gun who fights fascists and eldritch horrors and nasty folks like cops and landlords and rich people and bosses. And that is a gift from the game that I'm currently working on. So I'm like, can you even make a retro style comedy shooter? Do you know how to make pixel art in PNG format that will fit the AGS engine? You know, and then some dude's like, I played a lot of video games. I mean, that doesn't count, my friend. That doesn't count. So that's why I'm making this game alone, or not making this game. The game is coming by myself, but it's going to tie into the universe of the Lounge and Kate Nix's stuff, and so it's gonna be. I think it's a comedy game. So it's gonna be funny, but also it's gonna be. You know, I only make political games, like you know, right? So, Pigeon is gonna be cleaning the streets of a bunch of shitty chuds, crappy, self-centered white dudes and dudes generally. Like I was speaking earlier, like women should like not ask for pleasure during sex. The pigeon's like bang, and he gets hit with poop because he's a shithead, and then the bird poop hits his eye. He falls over and possibly suffers a fatal concussion. But anyways, it's gonna be a game with a pigeon with a gun, a cowboy hat, and all kind of other fun stuff. So look forward to that game coming soon. And follow KNix, and if you want to follow more about that, you can follow at Design Attack. Anyways, thank you so much to all of the list of people on this list for your continued support. That does help us keep doing all of the work that we do here, because it does stuff costs money, and so we do support the people who pay their mechanics for their skilled labor, to pay their Starbucks employees for their skilled labor, that pay all of their janitors and their care workers for the skilled labor, and that have sexual equity in their sexual relationships, and also those people that support the labor that we do here at the Silver Spoon Cooperative, including all of these people. So thanks a lot, Big Teal, for hanging out the whole time, and thanks Holly again for moderating, and we'll be back in the evening time at about 9 Pacific time for even more fun and hijinks, and probably won't be talking the whole time about She-Hulk, but we'll see what happens. Have a good time.